Bai Xiao 4. Wait. Bai Yan attempts to stop her husband's advances by pressing the palm of her hand against that big powerful chest. I still have other things I want to ask you, hold it. Di Song stopped his ill-behaving hands at the order, staring down at the panting woman beneath himself. Of course, my dear wife. I will answer anything and everything that you wish of me. Have you gotten any news about my brother Bai Zhao's whereabout? Now that peace has returned to the celestial realm, I want to bring him home with us. It's also the reason why I made such a big fuss before. It's to let him know what I've done. She did not forget the bothered face of her brothers when they met over at the Demon City. Originally, Bai Yan had wanted to get the details and help. Sadly, the following fighting and such went out of her hands and caused her to miss that opportunity. I'll send someone to look for him. Don't worry, he'll be all right. Bai Yan moved her mouth to say something else, but quickly stopped midway since there's nothing else they could do at the moment. I hope you're right. In this world, aside from her husband and children, Bai Xiao would be the Demon Queen's closest family. If anything happens to him without her knowledge, this lady would never be able to forgive herself. To the north of the celestial realm, there lies a frostbitten region of mountainous terrain, more commonly known as the Snow Realm. This part of the world never gets to see the light of spring, nor the greens of nature, only the snowy white landscape of ice and cold. Even so, life persists here and where it shouldn't, and a city had sprouted out from the grounds suitable for human inhabitants. Of the several clans making this frostbitten field their home, the strongest would be none other than the Snow Clan. A suitable name considering the climate and environment. Normally there wouldn't be anything special to be of note in this frostbitten region, where survival was a constant challenge for mortals, mostly just the occasional traveler or scuffle between clans. However, something major did occur in recent days. According to the rumors, the Snow Clan's greatest treasure, the Millennium Ice Lotus, had merged with an outsider after coming into contact with him. The person had no relationships to any clans, so this scandal took headline news among the residences of this city. Even more astounding was the consequences of this merger. It had sent the young man into a comatose state. Naturally, the Snow Clan's leading chief wouldn't be pleased at having their greatest treasure stolen by an unknown stranger that came out of nowhere. To remedy the situation, and without the consent of the person itself, the Snow Clan decides to take in this young lad and have him marry into the clan. That way they would retain the Millennium Ice Lotus without it being lost. Snow Lotus, I have decided in this matter, that teenager must marry into our family. Of the girls in our family, only you are the most suitable of age. I'm sorry, but you must do this. Speaking this inside a grand estate was the current chief of the Snow Clan, Snow Hawk. Biting her lip in grievance, the girl by the name of Snow Lotus angrily lashed out. I don't want to. I refuse to marry some unknown boy that came out of nowhere. What if he's just some random nobody from the mountains? So what if he fused with the Millennium Ice Lotus? We can just kill him and pluck it out from that body afterwards. Why must we do this? That guy is just some nobody. How can he compare to my big cousin? And the Millennium Ice Lotus? It should have gone to big cousin instead. I was just about to take it to him from the vault when this bastard came out of nowhere and ruined everything. Snowhawk frowned. My dear, how can you be so short-sighted? Father only wants the best for you. The Millennium Ice Lotus recognized him as the host because of his constitution. He's bound to achieve greatness in the future. I'm not just marrying you to him in order to keep the Lotus within our clan's control, but rather also betting on the young man's future. Perhaps somewhere down the line, he would be able to bring great wealth and power to us, if he becomes a member of the family. Do you understand? Snow Lotus simply snickered a sneer at her father's wishful thinking. Father, you are putting too much hope into some stranger you never met. He's just a nobody. I suspect the guy came specifically to scheme after our clan's wealth. Why else would he show up out of the blue? Also, which part of him look amazing? I can't sense an ounce of strength in his body. He's nothing like big cousin who's big, strong, and manly. Enough. Snowhawk snaps and gets serious in his voice. I've decided on the matter, and that's that. You will marry him on the prenuptial day set by the matchmaker. From this day forward you are not allowed to step 1 foot outside the estate, I will be ordering the guards to keep a close eye on you, so don't try anything. By Xiao 5. Lotus's expression changed for the worse after the lecture. Stomping her feet in frustration, the Missy promptly turns around and dashed away. However, instead of returning to her own room after leaving the gathering hall, she instead went to the guest room that's located next to her own courtyard. Lotus! A warm and watery sounding voice calls out from the rear before she could walk inside. Big cousin. The Missy saw who it was after swinging around, and immediately got all teary and sad that wanted nothing but sympathy from the other side. What's going on? Does uncle still want to marry you to that outsider? When he asks the girl with the furrowed temple. I'm sorry, big cousin. I wasn't able to have the Millennium Ice Lotus recognize you as its host, and allowed another to steal it from under you. Lotus's cheek had gone red from anger. Worst of all, my father is dead set on marrying me to that guy. He's absolutely certain the outsider will become someone great in the future. The Ice Lotus may be a family treasure of the Snow clan here, but it's by no means a tool or artifact. It's in fact a medicinal ingredient, a plant at its core. However, due to its long age and lifespan, the plant had come to grow a spirit of its own, meaning it's not much different from a spirit beast with a mind that's capable of making its own decisions. On top of that, the lotus wouldn't disappear after being fused with its host ether. It would remain inside and continuously supply the user with spiritual energies. So what does that mean? Simple. The host's strength would grow at an exponential rate without much effort. It's like being constantly injected with power from within instead of having to absorb the energy from the air like everyone else. Flickering a dangerous light in those eyes after hearing the bad news, Winnie the Missy's cousin quickly controlled his inner rage and spoke with his wooing voice. Lotus, I want to marry you by using my own virtues and my own strength, not by relying on the Millennium Ice Lotus. Please do not compare me with that outsider. I can tell he's after your family's power and influence. That's why he forcibly integrated himself with the Lotus. Apparently taken aback by the accusation, Snow Lotus stops her whimpering and stares at the man. You mean, he forcibly fused with the Ice Lotus? Didn't it choose him? But that day everyone saw how the Ice Lotus fused with the outsider. He fell beside the flower after succumbing to his injuries. That's why the blood touched the lotus and marked him. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. When he cocks the corner of his mouth into a I know it smirk. If not for the force fusing, why else would that outsider be in a coma still? The Ice Lotus had already healed his injuries. There's no reason for him to remain unconscious. This is the work of the Ice Lotus. It's punishing him for the transgression. Dazed in the face due to the conflicting idea, the girl's mind was starting to sway towards such behavior. I would only have disdain for those who would turn to such underhanded means. So what if the Snow clan is powerful and influential? I would never connive after such material things. If I want something, I will only take it by using my own ability, never others. That said, the guy also used his hands to tidy up the loose strand of hair in front of the young lady's forehead. But I'm about to marry that guy. Snow Lotus unwillingly bites her lip. Originally, she just didn't want to marry a stranger. But now she's absolutely disgusted with the person, after listening to all the foul things from her cousin here. Silly, how can I let you marry someone else? When he saw his words are working, going in for the kill by pecking the girl on the forehead. I've already thought of a way. There's no need to think about this. We will forcibly take back the Ice Lotus from the outsider. But, my father said we can't get the Millennium Ice Lotus back even if we killed that person. By Xiao 6. Getting clearly sharper in his gaze, the guy by the name of Wen Yi begins to spout his prearranged verse that he thought ahead of time. Your father is only tricking you into marrying that outsider by using that excuse. The Millennium Ice Lotus can easily be pried out of the person once he's got it. Do not believe anything else. Know this, my dear Lotus. I only want what's best for you and your clan. I cannot watch idly while someone evil is going after your family's treasure. In other words, all that he's doing was for the sake of others and not himself. There's not an ounce of selfishness in him. Obviously moved based on how blurry her eyes had become from the wet fluid slowly trickling out. Big cousin, You are so kind to me. You must become the next head of the Snow clan. Only then will your efforts not be wasted. That outsider is sure to bring ruin to our clan. Knowing he's got her, when he went ahead and pulled the girl into his arms, those fingers wrapped firmly around the waistline to not let her go. Also, it's to keep Lotus's line of sight from the dark sinister smirk that he's making. The guy's taller than the girl, so when she leaned that head against the man's chest, there's no way for her to notice. Guest room of the Snow clan. As the sun's ray pierced through the open window, the teen who's laying atop of the bed only appeared pale and distraught. The guy's dreaming. A dream about himself running through an open tundra surrounded by miles and miles of long snowy mountains in view. It's not that the guy wanted to flee through this freezing terrain. Rather, he's being chased by many ferocious-looking animals in the rear. In his frantic urgency to save himself, he eventually slipped and came crashing down into the ice, leaving a streak of blood through the ground as a result of the mishap. That was it. He knew there's no running after this. Closing his eyes in fear, the guy in the dream shivers uncontrollably at the impending death. Yet, the expected slash from a razor-sharp claw never came. Confused by the delay, he slowly opens a gap through those closed eyelids and peeked. It's there that he met her, that brilliant figure standing in front of himself and blocking the animals from eating him. You bunch are so bold. The girl's voice sounded crisp and cold, yet easy to the ear. Didn't I say no demon or demon beast is allowed to attack humans without strong reasoning? Did you all forget my orders already? Originally, the demonic beasts surrounding the youngster were still rearing to go at him, but after that harsh tongue lashing, they promptly retreated away with a longing affection for their prey. It's not often they would come across an easy human for food. Therefore, it's no wonder they would be so adamant about leaving. After the predators had all retreated and left the scene, the girl finally turned around to offer a helping hand. How are you? Are you hurt anywhere? Unsure at first on how to react, the teen stammered for a proper reply before he pulled himself together. I'm all right just now. Thank you for the help. Don't mind it, the girl smiled. I can tell your abilities are quite low. Here, take this lotus flower, it will help you. But before using it, you must use your own blood to feed it every morning for 100 days to make it recognize you as its owner. Afterwards, the lotus flower will continuously feed your blood with energy and repair any injury you suffer. Slowly taking the flower offered to himself, the youngster shows confusion at the gracious gift. Why are you going this far to help me? We don't know each other. It's nothing special. I'm only doing it for my own pleasure. I can see my past shadow in you. Thankfully, I'm better off now since Grandpapa took me in at the Celestial Palace. Otherwise, I would still be hunted by those people. In that moment, the girl's smiling face became firmly etched onto the young man's heart, bringing light and hope into his gloomy life of constant struggle and danger. By Xiao 7. Looking at the direction of the girl's departing back, the teenager didn't know what else to do aside from silently clenching the gift in his hands. Then a thought hit him, bringing purpose to his own life and why he should live. I will definitely repay you for your kindness. Wait for me. Once I get strong enough, I will find you and swear my loyalty to you. Unfortunately, that vow would never come of fruition, for the girl herself had already perished from this world once he's grown strong enough to safely move on his own. Meeting yet also a farewell, tragedy of fate itself. Some time into the future, the snow remains a forever blanket in this northernmost reach of the celestial realm. There are no more ferocious looking to make him their dinner, no more kind-hearted girl to give him a helping hand, only himself standing there and peering into the far-off horizon. I listened to you. I watered the lotus with my blood every morning and gained incredible strength compared to what I had. But now, you are gone and I still standing here. Why didn't you wait for me? By the time I came out to search for your whereabout, all I got is your terrible fate. Gripping his fist like he wants to challenge the world itself. I refuse to believe their lies. There's no way you are an evil scourge to the celestial realm. Those hypocrites, all they ever know is to look out for their own interest, and ignore those like me who needs help in the dark corners of this world. I will make them pay for this. A blood debt must be paid with blood. They took your life. and now I will take theirs as payment. That said, tears began to flow down the young man's cheek. Maybe I will be able to meet you again in the afterlife. Outside the celestial palace some days later. Who goes there? An old man who's clearly in charge of watching over the entrance gate yells at the coming young man. I'm here to avenge her. Sneering in the face, the young man proudly proclaims as he continued to move forward. Even if he's no match for the keepers of this place, he won't back down. Death doesn't scare him. I don't care who you are, but coming to the celestial palace and causing chaos is punishable by death. At the old man's word, the soldiers and defenders all began to brandish their weapons and quickly surrounded the intruder. With a few jabs of the spear and slashes of the sword, holes riddled the person and left him critically injured. If left unattended, he's sure to die from these wounds. With only that measly strength, and you still dare to come cause trouble. The old man contemptuously stares down at the guy, his voice sarcastic and mocking since he believes the upper hand lies with him. I know I'm weak, but she saved my life. Even if she doesn't know who I am nor know my name, I still owe her for all I have right now. Ha ha ha. Growing hysterical in his laugh, the young man flexes his muscles and sent the blades and spears jabbed into his body flying outward. At the same time, his body also began to swell bigger and bigger as smoke exuded out of his pores. Self-destruct. A look of horrified fear instantly yanked the old man back to reality and sent him into alarm. He's not here to fight but to die. He wants to take us with him. Wiping the corner of his mouth to remove the blood, the teen bellows out a powerful laugh since he's got what he wanted. Today, even if I die here, I will drag some of you to hell with me. Whatever I owe her, I will repay it in the next life. Boom. At that signal, an immense and catastrophic explosion rocked the area. Mists of blood scattered across the horizon and created a mushroom cloud in its wake. For this blast, most of the weaker defenders were instantly crushed at the scene, with the only surviving being that old man in charge with the arm blown off. Bai Xiao 8. Flashing forward into his next dreams. All were of similar nature where he would constantly search for a girl that him willingly sacrificed himself in the first one. Of course, he didn't understand any of it, and why he's searching. Sadly, like all the rest, he would never meet the individual, only dying alone of old age through years of training and cultivation. Well, that sad fate eventually did come to an end, when he finally got asked a certain question, by a specific female, inside the Bai clan's manor. Why are you so good to me? And he, out of the blue, answered in the oddest way. Perhaps it's my way of repaying a past debt from another life to you. In the Snow Clan's guest room, the teen who's been unconscious up till now finally loosened his furrowed forehead, letting a drop of tear to slowly trickle down the side and soaking the bed sheet. I see. I became her brother in this life, because she saved me in a past one. I came here for her, willingly to do anything to repay that debt. Unbeknownst to Bai Xiao himself, the sudden act of himself shooting open those eyes had startled the dagger-wielding girl beside his bedside. One could say he got very lucky in this moment, for who knows what this female had intended for him. You, the panicking young girl quickly hides her blade and asked with biting lips. You're awake? This is bad. Father will definitely come check on the loud commotion if try to gut him. Aha! Dry and hoarse like he's dehydrated. Bai Xiao slowly turns his head to the left side, to meet the girl who's known as Snow Lotus. Frowning after scanning the unfamiliar bedroom and its layout. Where am I? Lotus actually found herself unable to respond for a short moment there. Not for being asked a simple question, of course, but rather due to the extremely manly and attractive voice she just heard. Even so, her drive to rid her family of this outsider remains strong, especially when she believes the person intends to steal her clan's treasure and wealth at the cost of marrying herself. Good, you're awake now, we can go look for my father. Snow Lotus cocks her chin up, as she spoke like she's superior to him in every way. I will not marry you so you can forget about doing that. I already have a guy that's way better than you. He's self-reliant and strong, totally unlike you. Also, quit having wishful thoughts about me. That will never happen and nothing can change my mind. Bai Zhao's expression turned into a frown from the initial confusion, due to that burst of one-sided nonsense. I do not know you, nor do I want to marry you. Snow Lotus stared in surprise. This guy said he doesn't want to marry me? Didn't he steal the Ice Lotus in order to marry me? That way father will have no choice but to force? Why is he trying to deny it now? Are me trying to play hard to get with me? Lotus grinds her teeth viciously like a humiliated cat. I've met enough bastards like you who only knows how to act like they're not interested. Do you think I will believe that? I demand you go to my father this instant to state you won't marry me. Otherwise I would rather die than doing so. I am the daughter of the Snow Clan. Who doesn't admire me in this northern ice land? Don't take me for a fool just because you got some acting skills. Bai Xiao 9. Bai Xiao didn't want to waste more words with this girl who's clearly deaf in the ear. Pushing his arm to help himself up from the bed, the young lad didn't think much of the act until he suddenly came crashing down from the side and hitting the floorboard. That's how it dawned on him the condition he was in before falling unconscious. He became seriously injured and eventually went black. You! Lotus reflexively jerked backwards to avoid the guy who made the abrupt move. You won't get any sympathy from me even if you do this. I won't accept you so you can forget it. I would rather give the Snow Clan to Big Cousin than to give it to him. No outsider will take my family's wealth and power away by using underhanded means. Only Big Cousin can bring glory to the family. I don't get what father sees in this guy. Due to the noise from the inside, one of the maids standing watch outside immediately came running in to help. However, Bai Xiao has never been accustomed to having strangers touch him. That's why he swiped the helping hand away without forethought. This wouldn't be anything special aside from being a bit rude. But in Lotus's view, this behavior only appeared even more disgusting, like he's trying to get her to personally help. Don't think I can't tell. You not letting the maid help you is to have me do it. I'm stating this now. I won't touch you, not even a pinky. If I must help anyone, it will only be my cousin who gets it. You're such a delusional fool. Don't think everyone can be so easily deceived by your act. Caring even less at the rant coming his way, Bai Xiao pulls himself back up using the bed corner, sweating in the forehead as he spoke. Scram! Stumbling backwards due to the outburst coming at herself. Are you putting up a act again? It must be because I saw through his plan of acting hard to get. That's why he scolded me, so that I would be more interested. Humph, I've seen too many people like that, always acting so cool and tempered before me. They're all the same, conniving after my family's wealth and influence. Only Big Cousin is different. Only he would use his own abilities to achieve great things. Bai Xiao could tell his words would never get through this strange girl, and decides to not even give it an effort. It's not like he needs to anyways. If he could move, then he could leave. By then he would never need to speak to this unreasonable person. The only issue was, would they let him leave? That's the main problem. I'm warning you again. I will never marry you, so you better lose that idea. Your dream will never come true. With a glare as her final act, Lotus quickly turns for the door and ran outside. Once she was alone again, the young miss of this household immediately scans the surrounding for signs of others. Upon certain there's no one around, she promptly tosses the dagger hiding under her sleeve away. Only then did she head towards the guest room, where her supposed lover resides. When Yi has been standing at the entranceway during this period. He's also part of the plot to kill Bai Xiao, so of course he would be wary. Lotus, how did it go? Making a aggrieved face as she walked over after hearing that. I failed. That asshole woke up before I could move. I got scared since the commotion would alert my father. Without surprise, the gentle light in the man's eyes quickly shifted to that of disappointment. But he's not one to give up so easily. Pressing down his internal emotion, the guy pulls out his almost cooing voice. It doesn't matter. A failure is a failure. Since he's awakened now, we only need to threaten him a bit to give up the initiative. You don't know Big Cousin. He's trying to play hard to get with me. There's no way he would let go so easily. Stomping her feet in frustration, Snow Lotus acts like she's been sexually harassed by the mere idea. Bai Xiao 10. He insisted that he doesn't want to marry me, but guess what he did right afterwards? He fell on his own when getting out of the bed, and wanted me to help support him. As if I would do that. In regards to the idea of playing hard to get, Snow Lotus have seen quite a lot of it in the past. That's not fake. As a result of that, her view about others are somewhat twisted and difficult to change, hence the current situation. But, apparently afraid her cousin there would misjudge her words, the girl quickly followed up with more. I told him there's no way I will be his wife. Even if he tries to force me, only my corpse will be waiting for him. As for the Millennium Ice Lotus, I guess the guy is getting lucky in that regard. When he immediately lowered his head to avoid eye contact, but the light in his gaze had gotten very dangerous and sharp at the idea of losing the Ice Lotus. Humph, this stupid woman. As if I would let the Ice Lotus get away from my hands. Does she really think she's all that? If not for the Snow Clan's influence and power, I wouldn't even bother to spend so many years sugaring her up. Putting away his contemptible thoughts to continue in his act, when he forms the gentlest smile he could muster. How can I ever watch you suffer, Lotus? Know this, me wanting to pull the Ice Lotus out from that guy is for your sake, nothing else. I merely can't endure watching you marry someone you don't love, understand? Big cousin. The girl's eye got all red and watery, sending her right into his arms like a love-struck maiden. Only you would care about me so much. I promise I will do everything to help you. My heart and soul is yours and yours only. That asshole will never get my body. Care. A snickering laugh filled Wen Yi's mind at the idea of that word. How much is that worth? Caring for this idiotic woman is merely a mean to get what I want. After I'm done with her upon taking over the Snow Clan, I will make sure to stuff her into a cage and never let her out. There are so many more females out there. Why should I be constricted to a single one? Not far above the snowy mountains, 3 young girls curled together into a shivering manner due to the extreme cold. Xiaoying Tigress, are you sure Bai Yan is in this place? Chu Yi asks with clattering teeth as she squirmed from the low temperature. Originally Huang Xiaoying, the daughter of the current tiger chief, wasn't going to be part of the group to come to the celestial realm. However, the girl had gotten wind of the news before her old man and intercepted it. As a result, she was able to secretly drag the other 2 human girls away, claiming she knew the way. Sadly, the plan had gone awry somewhere along the way. They've been walking for some time and never found a trace of Bai Yan anywhere, let alone a living creature in this desolated ice field. My grandmother told me we only need to head south to find the queen. Huang Xiaoying bites her thumbnail and answered honestly. She doesn't know the exact location, so she made sure to ask for the way before heading out. In that instant, both Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyan were extremely horrified in their faces. Di Xiaowan is right, you are a big brainless woman with only big boobs. This is the north, we've been walking northward. Chu Yi, the Holy Land's own princess, jumps up and points her finger in an accusing manner at the tigress. Normally this Chu Yi wouldn't have such an outburst even if they went the wrong direction. But this Huang Xiaoying didn't even bother to tell them about the information from the old grandmother. Now they're even further than ever from Bai Yan's location. Did I go the wrong way? The tigress also turned green at the idea, her head stiffly looking around like she's finally realizing her own mistake. Stupid, you idiot, you're killing me. Chu Yi's beautiful eyes glared at the tigress like she wants to chew her out. However, her temper instantly vaporized at the cold breeze that ran through her spine in the next. Forget it, let's find a place to rest first before heading back. Lan Xiaoyan gets up at the good suggestion, her teeth also clattering from the cold. Yeah, let's do that. I don't get it. I've never been affected by the weather since I started to cultivate. Why am I feeling it now in this place? Exhaling to release a puff of white mist from her mouth. Let's head to that city we saw back over that hill. We can get a room at the inn or something, and warm up before heading back. Snow Lotus, Snow Moon 1. Let's go. Chu Yi rubs her shivering arms. We need to hurry. The sun looks like it's about to set. I don't want to be out here in the middle of the night. Huang Xiaoying, the tigress, whimpers in support, following closely behind the 2, so they won't be lost a second time. Fortunately, the city in question wasn't that far from their location. Before long, the party had come upon a sign with the name Ice Realm clearly written on the surface. Watch out! Chu Yi had only taken the first step after seeing the sign, when a loud hollering cry caught their attention from the forefront. Looking up, they could see a frantic three-striped tiger speeding towards their location with another girl trying to give chase from the rear. It's obvious this out-of-control tiger belonged to that anxious-looking girl who's crying and calling for its stop. Yi Xiaoyan, both of you step aside. Huang Xiaoying's expression got all serious, and hurriedly pushed her two companions away to act as a shield for this rampaging animal. You stand right there. She locks onto the three-striped tiger and orders with her resounding roar-like voice. Perhaps it's due to that roar, or simply because they're both tigers, but Huang Xiaoying's words definitely had an effect and settled the poor animal. Even so, the frenzied look in those eyes did not disappear and remained strong despite being more subdued and not moving. Tigerly, the girl who's been chasing from the back wanted to take this chance to check on her precious friend when the tigress promptly raised a hand out to stop it. You can't go over there. He's in a frenzied state and will hurt anyone that draws near. Then what am I supposed to do? Wiping some of the tear away, the poor girl weeps. My Tigerly have always been very good and would never hurt anyone. Why did he suddenly lose control like this? He even refused to listen to my words. Huang Xiaoying realized that the girl was sincere about caring for the three-striped tiger. Easing up in her stern face. Did you feed him a tiger-tail grass? Tiger-tail grass, what's that? The girl appeared puzzled at the name. Tiger-tail is a medicinal material, useful for many types of recipes. However, tigers themselves can't eat it. Otherwise they will become violent and lose control. Sister, can you help me save Tigerly? He is what mother left me before she passed away. I've been with him for many years. I don't want to lose him. The young teenager pleads, her face all red and flushed with emotion. Although in the celestial realm predominantly shun demons, but there's some who are able to contract with demonic beasts, provided they gain the approval of the animal itself. However, there are also many cases where the poor creature are tortured until they submit and forcibly enslaved. Don't worry, Tiger Tails has a time limit before its effects are worn off. We only need to wait and do nothing. But, the teenage girl casts a glance at her familiar before biting down on that lip. But, what am I going to do? People from the city are going to be coming through this area. I'm afraid they will encounter Tigerly and create a scene. If that happens, then the city officials will get involved. And then. Snow Lotus, Snow Moon 2. If father finds out Tigerly will hurt someone from the city, then he will dispose of him for sure. By then even begging will be useless. Yi Xiaoran. Huang Xiaoying murmured in hesitation. If not, can we help her? To be precise, she wanted to help the three-striped tiger, since she's the Tiger Clan's princess. Out of respect for her own kind, she's automatically obliged to have good feelings about the animal despite its inferior bloodline. Issue would be what the other two companions thought of the matter. She already made Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyan late in reuniting with Bai Yan due to her own blunder. Therefore it's shameful to ask for more. You want to help? Chu Yi shrugged like it's nothing. We're here anyways, another hour and delay won't matter much. Huang Xiaoying finally showed a bright smile, excitedly hugging the Holy Land princess as thanks. I really want to kiss you, but you are not my future husband Little Rice, so that hug will have to do. Chu Yi shuddered at the notion, and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Woman and woman don't mix, you stay over there otherwise. I'll yell for help. If it hadn't been for her strength, not being on par with this century-old tigress, the usual pampered princess of the Holy Land would have already dunked a few punches at her companion. Huang Xiaoying didn't mind the comment, and happily got back to the business at hand. So where's your home? I will help bring your tiger back with you. And don't ever let him eat that tiger tail grass anymore. Otherwise the both of you won't be so lucky next time. Ah, the girl blinked in confusion. By the way, how come Tigerly is listening to you after he went berserk? When I was shouting at him to stop earlier, he ignored me completely. Huang Xiaoying hesitated. What was she supposed to tell her? Say she's the princess of the Tiger Clan from the demon realm? That the three-striped tiger stopped because of her superior bloodline lineage? This, murmuring for a while without thinking up a good excuse, Probably because your tiger is a pervert. That's why he stopped at the sight of the beautiful Omi. Instantly, the sprawled-out tiger who's shivering on the ground bemoaned a growl in protest. Which part of me looked like a pervert? I'm clearly stopping, because of the bloodline suppression from you. On the contrary to the blank faces of others, the young teenage girl at hand believed that excuse full-heartedly. Why shouldn't she? Her familiar safely at put and wasn't rampaging around. Then I want to grow up looking just as beautiful as you. That way Tigerly won't ever go on a rampage anymore. This girl, can she be as dunce as Di Xiaowan demon princess? How can she even believe that obvious lie? Alright, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Snow Moon. I'm the youngest daughter of the Snow clan, and we're the biggest family clan around in this ice realm. I'll take you to my home, so please follow me. After saying that, Moon wanted to reach out and pat her familiar's head, when she came eye to eye with the glaring look of the tiger. Out of reflex, she instinctively flinched her hand backwards lest she be bitten. She's sad about this outcome, but more than sadness, Snow Moon was more confused about when her friend ate a tiger tail grass. She knows that's not something she had in her possession, that's for sure. The Snow clan's estate wasn't very far from the city gates. Therefore, it didn't take long for the group to arrive at Snow Moon's home, where they came face to face with another female at the doorway. However, instead of being welcoming and warm, this peach blossom-looking woman only had disgust in those eyes when she examined the girls. Snow Moon, who are these people? Did you get father's consent in bringing outsiders into our city? Chu Yi and Bai Xiaowan. Big sister. Snow Moon clenched that pink lip into a thin line like she didn't want to give the details. Just now Tigerly lost control, and it was these three sisters here who saved him. If they leave, then Tigerly will go into a frenzy again. Upon hearing that the three-striped tiger went berserk, Snow Lotus swiftly shifted her attention to the animal in question. Out of fear at recognizing the ferocious glare, she immediately took a few steps back. Fine. If they're here to look after your tiger, then they can stay for now. But once Tigerly is fine, then they are to leave immediately. Our Snow clan won't allow just anyone to sucker up to our feet. Without surprise, Chu Yi of the Holy Land instantly blew up after hearing that derogatory remark. She's the noblest young lady in the human world. Who would dare speak ill to her in that manner? Since these people don't want us to stay, then we can go. I'm not going to put up with this, if this is how they're going to treat us. She grabs hold of her two companion, and begins to walk away. Grar! Without Huang Xiaoying's bloodline suppression, the three-striped tiger issued a growling roar in the next, its eyes red and thirsty for blood. Seeing this, Snow Moon, who's been trying to mediate the situation, quickly got teary and anxious. Big sister, what are you trying to do? These are my guests that I invited. You have no right to drive them away. You! Snow Lotus would of course be offended in the way her younger sister rebuked her. But she's also not blind to the danger that's quickly brewing nearby in the form of the tiger. It's already locking onto her body and fangs baring, going pale at the dangerous possibility. I was just kidding. I didn't mean to drive them away. Chu Yi finally stopped her moving legs after hearing that. But her face wasn't that of complacent or happiness at being allowing to stay, it's contempt. That's too bad. We no longer want to stay. If not for Xiaoying asking us to help the three-striped tiger, we wouldn't even bother to waste time in this frigid place. Don't think people are going to come and go as you please, just because you got some influence here, due to your family background. Chu Yi has never suffered such indignation, not in the past and not into the future. As for Huang Xiaoying, who wanted to help the most, she too has been enraged by the maltreatment of the older sister here. Turning her head, this big-breasted dunce made it clear she's also displeased. And regarding Lan Xiaoyan, well, her temperament couldn't be called the best either. Sure, her abilities aren't at the level of the other two girls in her party, but that doesn't mean she would just take the insult. After all, she had her cousin Bai Yin to support her. What did she have to fear? Snow Lotus's expression changed for the worse after sarcastic remark. I'm not wrong. If these people are not here to lick their feet and gain some benefit, then why else are they trying to get close to her younger sister? Only Moon is blind enough to believe them. I Chu Yi have never sucked up to anyone in my life. She proudly cocks her chin up. Also, there is nothing in this world that is worth having me suck up to others. You. Snow Lotus gnashes her teeth and glared angrily at the Holy Land's princess. How can there be such a brazen person in this world? She clearly wants to take advantage of the Snow Clan's influence, yet refuses to admit it. She's just like that bastard inside the estate. Both shameless to the core. Big sister. Snow Moon couldn't take it anymore, and stomped her feet in frustration. They are my guests, so I will decide on the matter. If you cause Tigerly's death, then I will. I will die with you. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao too. Taking another few steps back in a hurry after hearing that growl, Snow Lotus bursts out screaming. Crazy, you're all crazy. I'm done staying here with you nutcases. Moon, I pray for you that these people aren't coming with bad intention. Otherwise, not even father will let you go. Giving a final glare at the Holy Land princess who dared to talk back, the pompous and rude miss of the Snow Clan twists around and fled back into her home. Xiaoran Xiaoing, we're leaving too, let's go. Chu Yi did not intend to stay despite winning the banter, and pulled at her two companions' arm again. She's never suffered indignation before in all her life thus far. It's frustration, and making her very unhappy. Huang Xiaoing widened her eyes. She's somewhat reluctant to leave, and gave a casting glance at the three-striped tiger. However, her indecision steadied at the remembrance of Snow Lotus's maltreatment and poor attitude. What are you dropping your mouth for? Didn't you hear what that woman said? She only knows how to look down on people. If anything goes missing in there, then I can guarantee you she will blame us for the theft. The annoyance clearly didn't leave yet, hence the sort of words coming out of Chu Yi's mouth. Yi is right. Lan Xiaoyan also chimes in after a moment of thought, turning to Snow Moon, who's all anxious and worried. I'm sorry, Ms. Moon, we cannot help you anymore. You've heard what your elder sister said. We don't want to get mixed in with the problems of your family, so we can only keep our distance. But, Snow Moon's eyes immediately got all teary and red. She is her and I am I. I won't let something like that happen. Please, I beg you, please stay until Tigerly is back to normal. In the end, the plea finally moved the tiger princess. Stepping forward again, Huang Xiaoying speaks with intelligence for once. Let's do this then. I will look after your three-striped tiger for the next hour, until the effects wear off, since we won't be staying. I don't want to stay at this crummy place either, so everyone wins. How about that? Perhaps the way of describing her home, as crummy, hit a sore spot for Snow Moon. Without delay, the younger miss of the Snow Clan began to let the tears roll down those cheeks, until her existence shrunk into an insignificant pea-sized shape. Murmuring in her tiny voice, "Okay, I will have Tigerly follow you. Please take care of him for me. I'll come pick him up in an hour." Chu Yi didn't have any objection to the tigress's idea of taking the feline with them. As long as they don't meet that foul-mouthed Snow Lotus, then it's all good. Let's go. Readying to leave for the third time now after giving both girls the signal, Chu Yi had just swung around when she overheard a banshee-like scream from the inner courtyard of the estate. "Ah, you asshole, you actually dared to undress before me. I already knew you were coming with bad intentions, but I didn't think you would be a pervert as well." Naturally, the annoyed Holy Land princess didn't want to stop again after so much back and forth, but the familiar voice that replied in the next second stopped her in her track. Scram! The sound was cold and heartless, but with the youthful greenness of someone they knew. Towards this voice, Lan Xiaoyan was equally as familiar, because it's someone they've been wanting to meet as well. Exchanging a look with Chu Yi, both of these human ladies were making shocked faces like they didn't expect this at all. But of the most rash and tactless of the two, Chu Yi had to take the lead when she bolted for the inside in a hasty run. Inside a room, the Snow Clan's chief and Winnie had just barged into this room when they saw Lotus angrily lashing out at the occupant inside. "Lotus, what happened?" the girl's father asks with a frown on his face. "Father." Lotus saw who had arrived and immediately flew into a grievance cry, pointing accusingly at the half-naked teen. Her face flared with rage. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao 3. This bastard got naked in front of me. He's clearly trying to do something untowards me while no one is looking. We have to kick him out right away. Bai Xiao didn't lash out at the accusation in this case though. He's merely sitting on the bedside and taking it all in with an amused smirk. Get me out of here? I couldn't ask for a better outcome. Just now he was indeed open-chested. However, he's not trying to strip in front of the girl, nor does he want to have her in this room to begin with. In fact, it was she who barged in when he was applying the medicine to a huge wound along his chest. Furthermore, who barges into a man's room without knocking first? Snowhawk the chief saw through this, of course, since anyone could tell what the boy was doing with those bandages and medicine on the table. Getting gloomy in his face when turning to his oldest daughter. Lotus, you are being unreasonable here. And no, you are not breaking the marriage arrangement, and you will marry him. The upset miss stared hard like she couldn't believe what her ears were hearing. Father, have you gone mad? Do not be deceived by this person. He can barely stand up on his own, let alone be the host of the Ice Lotus. I say it's big cousin who should be. Enough, Snowhawk snaps in exasperated tone. This is my decision. You will not say more. I don't care if you want to or not, but you will marry him on the auspicious day set by the matchmaker. Bai Zhao's cold glaring eyes shifted to the older man at that last bit because he never agreed to anything. I am grateful for the Snow Clan's help when I was seriously injured, but I won't be marrying your daughter. My marriage will be decided by own will, not by the dictation of others' finger. Snowhawk's face changed into the form of someone being troubled by a set of disobedient children. Oh my goodness, one Lotus is already difficult enough to handle. Now this teenager is also refusing my judgment. Which part of the Snow Clan is bad? What can't we give him to refuse the marriage? Sir Xiao, you don't know this since you are not from here, but my Snow Clan has a rule passed down through the ages, that one who wields the Millennium Ice Lotus must become a son-in-law of the family. Snowhawk's troubled face reforms into a collected elder teaching their ignorant younglings. You can't expect me to disregard this rule, can you? Bai Xiao only chuckled at that. Your clan's rule is yours. What does it have to do with an outsider like me? I will naturally leave on my own after my injuries recovered some more. But if you wish for me to leave right away, then I will. As for the debt of helping me, I will also repay it on a later date when my body permits it. That I guarantee. A debt was a debt. He owes them and won't refute that claim. However, no one was going to force him into anything. Snowhawk's smile crumbled into a thin line of deep troubled thought. Then just as this older man wanted to persuade some more, a irate outcry came from the missy in question. Can't you see, father? This bastard is acting all high-mighty in front of us, so I will have deeper feelings for him. He knows you won't let him leave. That's why he's pretending to not like me. I'm telling you, there's not going to be anyone ever to fall in love with him. That last line was exactly what Chu Yi heard when she arrived outside the bedroom. Normally she would be insulted at hearing her friend being berated in such a fashion. But her eyes had already landed on the young dreamy lad in her mind, and that huge gashing wound across the chest. It struck her like a sword in a maiden's heart. Get out of my way. She shoved Snow Lotus aside, who was directly in her way, and sped towards the young lad. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao 4. Stopping right before the young lad's presence, Chu Yi was only a step away from crashing into him. You're hurt, Xiao Xiao? Without surprise, Bai Xiao became startled by the sudden appearance of this friend of his. Even so, it didn't take long for him to respond with that brilliant smile. I'm fine, how come you are here? For a moment, even Snow Lotus was bedazzled by the level of charm coming off of the lad. She's always taken her big cousin Wen-Yi as the most handsome man in the ice realm. That's why she's so heads over heels for the person. Yet now she's coming to realization of someone even better on the bed right over there. To say she's not slightly swayed would be an understatement. But then the remembrance of the repugnant things done to herself instantly shook Lotus back to attention. Furthermore, she just got shoved by some lowly peasant outsider. It's good that you are all right. I and Xiaoyan came to meet Bai Yan, but we ended up going the opposite way and came here instead. I'm just as surprised to meet you here. Bai Yan? Snowhawk, who's been listening intently at their conversation, formed a frown at the name. Why is the name so familiar? Bai Xiao's even cool face finally breaks into a warmth never shown thus far. Turning to the Snow Chief. Chief Hawk, I will be leaving with my friends now that they are here. The debt I owe your clan will be repaid by me in due times, that I promise. The frown in Snowhawk's face deepened even further. Instead of making the kind elderly facade he showed earlier, the chief had turned sharp and borderline threatening. Chu Yi sensed this, of course, and subconsciously stepped forward to put herself between the two men. She's vigilant in the eye like a fight's about to break out. In light of the heavy air, Snowhawk's dangerous aura eventually scattered and returned to the gentle and kind one. Sir Xiao, I believe it's best if you stay until you recover from your injury. I wouldn't want our efforts to be in vain. How about it? Humph, why would we do that? You people will only continue to insult him if he stays. Chu Yi doesn't back down, and shot the idea down with her warning glare around the increasingly larger crowd of occupants around the doorway. I'm taking him away today regardless of what you all do. This time it's no longer a mere differing opinion or argument. It's a direct insult for Snowhawk, who called himself the chief. Bai Xiao felt the sudden pressure exuding out of the older man there, and immediately reached out to grab hold of Chu Yi's hand to pull her back. We will stay for now like Chief Hawk suggests. My injury is too severe to move properly, so it's the best arrangement. As soon as he said this, the pressure that surrounded the Holy Land's princess dispersed, and the chief bellowed out a laugh at the sensibility of the young lad. That's great then. I will not disturb your rest, so we will take our leave. Lotus, come with me. Grabbing his eldest daughter's arm, he drags her out without room for discussion. The whole room went all quiet despite the ruckus mere seconds ago. Xiao, why are you staying? Chu Yi asks with a perplexed look, scanning the room to make sure there's no eavesdroppers lingering around. The Snow Clan's chief won't be letting us go regardless of what we do. Also, you're not his equal, so there's no point in resisting right now. We will move once I recover. That little remark about her being weak definitely didn't make the girl any happier. But even so, the Holy Land princess didn't refute the claim and moved on. So we can leave after you recover? Aha. The boy makes a faint nod. Once I am healed, no one here is my opponent. Bai Xiao wasn't one to repay kindness with hate, but they are leaving him no choice. A debt doesn't equal to slavery, nor does it mean one must sell themselves out for such a thing. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao 5. Then I'll stay with you. Chu Yi wanted to reach out to help the young man, when her hand froze midair at the sight of that huge scar along the chest. Frowning in the face, do you need me to help you with the medicine? Realizing his current flaunting of skin, Bai Xiao suddenly found it oddly uncomfortable and quickly covered up part of it, coughing to clear his throat and to hide his inner embarrassment. No, I'll apply it myself. I've got some injuries elsewhere. Can you first move outside for it? Men and women are different. It's already bad enough he's showing his open chest before her. What would she think of him if he starts stripping the pants as well? You're hurt elsewhere? Chu Yi blew open her mouth and began to examine the young lad with anxious eyes. Bai Xiao's expression only got more embarrassed at the added attention. The place where I got hurt is on my inner thigh. It will be inconvenient, so? The Holy Land's princess reacted like any young maiden would. She's flushing red in the face like a peachy plum, hurrying to swing around in order to not make eye contact. That. I will take my leave first then. Go ahead and apply the medicine. If you need help then call me. By the time her voice finished that sentence, she's already bolting it out the door. Lan Xiaoyan was the first to greet the fleeing friend that came running back out from the estate. That person inside. Is it my cousin Bai Xiao? Bai Xiao. Huang Xiaoing the tigress didn't know who the guy was. However, she could see the flushed red appearance of her companion there. Without thinking, this big-breasted dunce jumped up and yelled the first thought that came to mind. Why is your face so red? Did someone inside the Snow Clan pick on you? No one will call you a dummy if you don't speak. Chu Yi yells back in exasperation. This big-breasted dunce couldn't pick it up, but Lan Xiaoyan definitely did with her intelligence. Did I say something wrong again? Huang Xiaoying makes an aggrieved face. Xiaoran! Chu Yi turns to her smart companion, and instantly noticed the smiling look coming her way. In the momentary panic, she blurts out the only excuse that came to mind. It is Bai Xiao inside there, and I'm blushing because of the sun, it's really the sun. Pricking her eyes up skeptically, Lan Xiaoyan looks upward, and found only the gloomy white clouds covering the sky. Sun? Where is the sun? Chu Yi's flushed face nearly exploded due to the blood rushing up to the head. She's known as the little demon witch of the Holy Land. When has she ever been so weak and helpless? It's shameful, but the girl had to admit she's inferior to even the tigress here, who they took as a dunce. At least Huang Xiaoying had the courage to pursue love despite everyone's opinion. Do you like my cousin Bai Xiao? Lan Xiaoyan figured it's best to be direct. Pursing her lips into a thin line, Chu Yi stared at the ground for a long while before looking to for answering. I like Bai Xiao. I've liked him since the day I saw him standing outside the burning Bai house. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao 6. Bai Yin wasn't the biological daughter of the Bai family, thus making it rather irrelevant even if she did destroy that household. However, Bai Zhao was different and remains truly born of that family, despite all the woes about their misdeeds. Towards someone that would go so far to stand with his sister, how could Chu Yi not fall heads over heels for him? If, said Lan Xiaoyan with a smile, Bai Yin finds out you're going to be her sister-in-law, she'll be very happy. Cousin Bai Yin have always liked you a lot. Chu Yi stared at the girl like cat having its tail stepped on. Who said I'm going to be her sister-in-law? Bai Xiao. He still hasn't accepted me, and he doesn't even know I favor him yet. Then you can tell him, you silly. Why wouldn't you tell him? But what would you do if Xiao Xiao rejected you? Lan Xiaoyan suddenly got very serious with that question. Chu Yi suddenly fell into a daze, like her soul got shattered into tatters with that possibility. That's right. What if he turns me down, what then? Will he think of me being shameless if I refuse to let go? Will he think I'm one of those females? Would he hate me in the end? The more she thought, the more anxious this Holy Land princess became. Or, I can hide it from him for now. It's fine to keep things as is like before. Rather than being rejected, she much prefers to keep things at a stalemate level of friends. Lan Xiaoyan understood the woes of her friend there, of course, raising a hand to pat that shoulder. That's your choice, and maybe then you can watch him marry, and have children as well. By then you can even be the baby's godmother, and name the kid. Chu Yi's little face got dreadfully white at the idea. She could tell Lan Xiaoyan was using this method to provoke her into confessing. But she just doesn't have the courage just yet. I'll try. Chu Yi's lips formed into a bittersweet line. I will try to be like Huang Xiaoying some more. She still hasn't given up despite suffering so many setbacks, so I shouldn't give up either. Bai Zhao's temperament have always been on the cooler side, the only exception being Bai Yin, his older sister. That's also the reason why Chu Yi felt so reluctant to confess. The only reason the boy was so gentle with them was because of Bai Yan's connection. Without that proud woman, they are barely worthy of being in the guy's view. Huang Xiaoying, who's been keeping quiet until now, finally commented with that pastry-stuffed mouth of hers. One really had to hand it to this tigress to eat at this moment. I did not suffer any setbacks, okay? Why do you two keep saying I did? It's so frustrating to be misunderstood because I've been doing very well so far. Chu Yi snapped to the tigress because she did not expect that. I thought Little Rice isn't accepting you, right? So what? Huang Xiaoying swallowed the pastry in one big gulp before replying. Sooner or later Little Rice will be mine. I've set my eyes on him already. That means I won't change my mind in this life. That actually brought a momentary stupor to Chu Yi's head. Before, she always thought of this tigress as a silly woman who only has breasts for brains. But now she's somewhat envious of her straightforward nature. I understand then. I will not give up. As long as he hasn't fallen in love with another, I won't give up either. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao 7. Despite the topic being revolved around the young man inside her home, Snow Moon didn't actually realize this until they've reached this part. Stunned in the eyes. Sister Yi, are you saying that Bai Xiao inside is the one you like? You can say that. Yi rubs her chin before narrowing those eyes in against the young girl. But you mustn't tell him this otherwise. I won't let Huang Xiaoying help you anymore. I see, don't worry, I won't tell anyone, especially Sir Xiao. Snow Moon didn't get frightened by the warning tone. Rather got all cherry, and made a zipping gesture around the lips to emphasize her will to keep quiet. Yi had already liked this lovely lass from the start, and only stayed distant due to that rude older sister. Now that she's able to meet her crush as well thanks to this chance meeting, her tone naturally returned to a softer one instead of the displeased version from earlier. You are a good child. Can you tell me what's the deal with your family clan? Why is your father forcing him to become your older sister's husband? Snow Moon puckers her lip into a frown at the mention. My family has a Millennium Ice Lotus in our possession before, and it took your friend Sir Xiao as its host by coincidence. Father believes he will become a great individual in the future because of that reasoning, hence his insistence on the marriage arrangement. But my sister Lotus, she has someone else she likes already. A Millennium Ice Lotus? What is that? How come I never heard of that before? Yi rubs her chin at the odd name. Oh right, the one my older sister like is my big cousin Wen-yi. But I never did like that guy since I was young. I find him far too fake with that pretentious face of his. Are they really cousins? Yi stares in surprise. I heard close relatives becoming a couple will have a higher chance of producing defective children. At that moment all three eyes fell 33 upon her. Who told you such nonsense? How come I never heard of such a thing? Lan Xiaoyan cuts in with her skeptical voice. I agree, I've never heard of these things either, so it mustn't be true. Huang Xiaoying also nodded in agreement. Her tiger clan has plenty of their members partnering with close relatives. If it's spread that their offspring are defective for this reasoning, then it would be a scandal. It's Bai Yan who told me this. Yi blandly answers, her voice deadpan and flat. Without surprise, that causes Lan Xiaoyan to loosen her frowning face. If it's my cousin who said it, then it must be true. Ms. Moon, you should tell your older sister this. Otherwise their children will become defective in some way when born. I agree. Huang Xiaoying nods her head proudly for some reason. Out of consideration for your love for the three-striped tiger, I suggest you stay away from that cousin of yours lest he gets funny ideas about you afterwards. I will also tell my father to mandate distancing of close relatives in marriage arrangements. Yi forced a hard look at this tigress, due to the quick turn of attitude. That's not what you said just now. Snow Moon also became dumbfounded due to the lack of integrity about where these girls stood. She's simply never seen anyone changing their attitudes so quickly. No matter who your older sister likes, my cousin Xiao Xiao won't be marrying her regardless. Lan Xiaoyan bites down on her lip at the remembrance of the past. No one can force that guy into anything if he doesn't will it. Frame 3. What do we do? My father will not let Sir Xiao go at this rate. If he finds out Sister Yi here likes him too, then he will surely kick her out. Snow Moon frowns and said it worriedly. Casting a glance at the tigress, Yi wanted to confirm some details first. Hey Big Breast, are you able to overcome these people from the Snow Clan if we end up in a fight? Huang Xiaoying shook her head honestly. I can't beat them. Both of you leave first and find Bai Yan for help. I'll stay behind with Xiao Xiao in case anything occurs during this period. Unless she watches over the young lad, Yi could never be at ease while they are here in the Snow Clan's home. No, I can't go. Huang Xiaoying shook her head desperately. I promised the princess to protect you too. If I leave, then who will do that? Ha! Don't take me as some weak maiden that needs protecting. I'm in no danger. Xiaoyan, go with her as well. She is so clumsy and road blind. I'm not comfortable leaving her go out alone. Yi sighs and shakes her own head in a helpless fashion at the arrangement. Okay Yi, we'll be back very soon. Don't go anywhere without reason. Lan Xiaoyan immediately swings around and dragged the tigress along for the exit. Wait, you hold on. Huang Xiaoying wanted to cry, because she hasn't forgotten about the three-striped tiger. If she leaves, then what about the tiger? Out of desperation, she pushed away her friend's hand, and quickly took out a bottle and dagger from the storage bag. Cutting a slight opening on the tip of her finger, She lets a few drops of blood trickle into the container and hands it over to Chu Yi. You hold this. Although the blood is not as useful in comparison to having me around, the few drops in there should still be enough to keep this tiger at bay for now. Just don't do anything to provoke him until he's better. Chu Yi nodded after taking the bottle over, thus allowing the two girls to depart in assurance. She got careless and completely forgot about this other problem when suggesting them to leave. Thankfully, the tigress had kept this in mind and helped out. Sister Yi, are you going to end up as enemies to the Snow Clan? Snow Moon eventually asks in timid tone after seeing they are alone. This younger daughter of Snow Hawk may be of a small age, but she too had noticed the heavy atmosphere in her moon as of late. I don't know. This answer from the Holy Land Princess was an honest one. She too doesn't know of what the future holds. If the Snow Clan use excessive force, then they too would be backed into a corner. By then, what other choice would she and Bai Xiao have? It's the main reason she sent her two companions away to look for Bai Yan. With the Demon Queen around, what do they have to fear? I see. Hanging her head dejectedly, Snow Moon could guess what's going to happen at this rate. But then her sad moon immediately got swiped away when she noticed the older sister's gaze. It's okay, Sister Yi. I won't go tattle on you to my father. I know my family's situation. I only hope my father won't make the wrong choice in this. He can be quite stubborn at times, but he's not a bad person at heart. Please know that. Feeling a tinge of guilt for putting such a young lass in this bind, the Holy Land Princess reaches out and caresses that small head in a comforting motion. Framed 1. Snow Clan's main gathering hall. Snow Hawk sat high atop of his master chair, as he gazes down at the two younglings before himself. Winnie, I have something to discuss with Lotus in private. You can go back to your room first. Yes, uncle. Despite complying by arching his fist and turning for the exit, the young man had made a disgruntled face once he turned the other way. It's not surprising in this case, after all. He did work so hard just to get this far and winning the girl's fancy. Why should he be cast aside like an outsider when he wanted to be more? Lotus. Snow Hawk returns his attention back to his daughter after making sure they're alone. You've been talking with Winnie again, haven't you? Hanging her head low in an almost guilty manner. Father, Cousin Winnie is way better than that Bai Xiao. Why are you so prejudiced towards him? Besides, what's so good about that Bai Xiao anyways? Didn't that outsider say he's without parents? Such a person has no status to speak of. Why are you comparing such a low-standing person to Big Cousin? The One Clan may not be comparable to the Snow Clan, but they're by no means weak in this frostbitten realm. However, in retrospect to Bai Zhao's connection with Bai Yan, the two could never be on the same stage. In fact, the Queen of the Demon Realm could easily overshadow every major power in this northern landscape if brought to the front. Lotus, I won't repeat myself again, so stop having those thoughts. You will not change my mind on the matter. I care not whether you accept the marriage or not. You will marry that boy, understand? The older man's expression had gotten stern and hard. And in my opinion, that Bai Xiao doesn't necessarily want to accept you. Lotus only sneered at that idea, cocking her chin high like a proud peacock. Don't make me laugh, father. That asshole is only pretending to not like me in order to trick me into liking him. I've seen plenty who tried such plays in the past. I bet it's because he knows you won't let him leave. That's why he wanted to use such means to earn image points. He probably feels so inferior that he needs to use such underhanded tricks. Enough, I don't want to hear anymore. Groaning like he's going to get headache at his eldest daughter's logic, Snow Hawk's brow had furrowed into a deep knot. Swiping the air impatiently. We will talk again later, leave me for now. Also, you are not allowed to get close to Winnie during this period. Do you understand? Father. Lotus stomps her feet hard in frustration, but then retracted that whiny tone after lighting up with an idea. Father, I heard you got your hands on a divine god pill. Can you give Cousin Winnie it? If you do, then I promise to listen to you. Divine god pill. A very rare drug that could help one break through from a middle divine rank into the higher divine rank. It's a wonderful product most could only dream about. And in this case the Snow clan has gotten in their possession a single pill for the most talented of their members. Growing extremely ugly in the face at the sudden request, the man could tell where this was leading to. Lotus, you know well enough that our clan is saving that pill. Why would you ask such a thing of me? Of course I know, father. That's why I'm asking you to let cousin Winnie take it. I know you and the elders are all looking for the most talented among the younger generation to use it upon. But you need to stop being biased towards cousin Winnie. He's been stuck at the middle divine stage for so long. If he takes that divine god pill, then he will surely make a breakthrough. You know it too, he and I. Humph. Snowhawk sounded irate now. You really have been blinded by that boy, haven't you, Lotus? Don't think your father I can't see through to his schemes. He wants the divine god pill? Dream on. That precious drug will only be used on someone within the family, not some distant relative from another clan. Also, once you are married to that Bai Xiao, I will be sending Winnie back to the Wen clan. It's not right for him to constantly stay at our home when he has his own. Frame 2. Father. Snow Lotus exclaims, her eyes teary, and wanting to argue some more. However, the indifferent gaze coming from her old man told the distressed lady all she needed to know, and how fruitless it would be. Without any extra hesitation, she turns and stepped out of the hall with a strong level of unstableness. Father can't fool me. He only wants to keep the divine god pill because of that annoying Moon, little sister. Just because Moon's talent is superior to mine that they are willing to be so unfair to me? I can't let this go on. Cousin Winnie have already been wronged. I must get him the pill at all cost. Gradually, Snow Lotus's figure had straightened out with a firm steadiness in her strides. Father, don't blame me. It's you who forced me, she mutters while giving a casting glance at the hall behind herself. In this world, there's no one who could give Snow Lotus a sense of security aside from her so-called strong and powerful cousin. After leaving the hall, the resentful lady directly went over to Wen Yi's courtyard, where the man was already waiting anxiously. Big cousin. Without surprise, she burst into tears and threw herself at him. When he caught the girl, of course, wiping some of the tears with his finger like a gentleman, he dives right into the main topic. So did you get it? Did Uncle give you the divine god pill? Appearing apologetic in her face. My father did not want to give me it. Big cousin. It looks like we will need to look for an alternative method at this rate. Towards Lotus's answer, the guy expected it as much and didn't get angry. Even so, he couldn't hide the touch of disappointment in those eyes. This woman is really stupid. She can't even get a stupid pill for me. If not for the fact that the Snow clan only has her, and that young Moon as the next heir, I wouldn't even consider this stupid woman. She has neither brains nor body. It disgusts me so much. Having thought that, Winnie did not forget to keep up his gentleman act when the girl faced upwards to meet his gaze, softening in his voice. Lotus, you know I only want to rely on my own ability to grow. I do not want you to suffer in my stead. Regarding the divine god pill, you mustn't go to Uncle again, understand? That worked as expected because Snow Lotus's mood grew even more guilty and conscious of her own failure. Cousin Wen Yi is so amazing. He never asks for others to help him. Why must father misunderstand him as such? Cousin, I will not let father continue to misunderstand you. He will learn sooner or later who is the better option for being the Snow clan's son-in-law. It's all that Bai Zhao's fault. He must have been spouting lies to him in secret and making you look bad. When he didn't buy that theory, of course, in the way he narrowed his eyes in at that last remark. He's not stupid like this Lotus. The guy could tell Bai Xiao could care less about the Snow clan based on his attitude alone. That leaves only one answer. The one behind his semi-exile state was the chief who saw through his plan. I know, my sweet Lotus, I know. Bai Xiao lusts after you. That's why he framed me so that he could get Uncle to side with him. I won't let him do that, I promise you. I will let everyone in the Snow clan know how much I love you through my own strength, and not by taking advantage of others. That said, the sweet talker reaches out with his hand and caressed the girl's hair in a soothing motion, those eyes radiating a doting love usually found in a pair of love birds. Frame 3. Big cousin, Is it wrong for me being the eldest daughter of the Snow clan? I didn't want to be born strong, nor did I choose this beautiful appearance of mine. They're all given to me by my mother. Why does fate like to toy with me as much? All those shameless men only know how to connive after me and refuse to stay away. If I could, I would rather abandon it all just to be with you. Reaching up to caress her own face, Snow Lotus appears both bitter and happy at the same time for her own life somehow. Those men at least had father blocking them away, so I didn't have to do anything. But now that asshole has father in his fingertips. What am I supposed to do? Lotus, I fear it's not that simple with that Bai Xiao. Those in the past only want you and the wealth your family can provide. But this guy must be up to no good. You already saw how he schemed to take the Ice Lotus. He's probably meditating to do more than just marrying you. From that warm smile of the pretentious guy, when Yi began to lead this stupid lady down the path he wants. I know now. It must be the divine god pill. He's weak, so he wants to also grow stronger. With that pill, he will be able to do just that after stealing it in his next step. That actually brought a visible tremble to the lady's face, shaking her head in the next like she's trying to think of something. How is that possible? Bai Xiao can't even climb out of bed. So how can he steal the divine god pill from my father? Did you forget? He had a few friends who came today. Do you think it's a coincidence that they deliberately approached your younger sister Moon at this timing? Maybe their whole purpose is to get the pill from the very start, and the Ice Lotus is merely a coincidence. I can't be certain, but you must remind your father to be careful of everything and everyone related to that person. When he says it with such solemn tone that it's hard to dismiss the possibility in the eye of the girl, getting depressed again at the mention of her old man. But my father is already convinced of Bai Xiao's intent. He won't believe my words. And if I go to him and tell him about your opinion, father will surely misunderstand you some more. Then the divine god pill. The guy continues to keep the conversation around that item since he doesn't want to leave it. Don't worry. That is placed inside the altar room by father. Some outsider wouldn't be able to get there on his own. The location won't be a problem. Altar? When he raised an eyebrow, his mouth nearly unable to stop from laughing out aloud. So that's why. The divine god pill is inside the altar room. No wonder I couldn't find out where it was from. Snow Hawk's concubine. Sleeping with that old hag was such a pain. Though she did look fantastic for a middle woman. That bastard must have been on to me for a while now. I need to finish up with my plan soon lest he acts against me. Softening up until his voice could melt hearts. I am relieved then, Lotus. You have no idea how worried I've been for you and your family since that outsider came into our lives. We must continue to be vigilant around that person. There are a lot of bad people who wants to take advantage of others in this world. After saying that, the guy went ahead to lean down at the nearby rose patch and plucked a piece from the bush to offer it over to the girl. Snow Lotus of course felt elated at the offered gift, but her sight had lost sight of the thorns on the stem there and easily pricked her own finger, letting blood draw from the small cut. Lotus. The guy hurriedly grabbed hold of her hand and wiped it with a handkerchief, his eyes showing pain and regret. It's all my fault. You're hurt because of my carelessness. Seeing the unabashed lovey eyes coming her way, the girl melted away like she's eating honey. I'm all right, Cousin Winnie, don't worry about me. This won't do, you are my precious Lotus. Even a prick from a rose is a prick to my heart. Come, let me take you to your bedroom for rest. Acting like he's relieved over her statement, Winnie casually tossed aside the handkerchief and plucked her right up into a princess hold and left. This would have been a real princess and prince story right out of a fairy tale. Issue was the guy didn't leave for long in this case. Minutes later, Winnie had returned in haste and picked up the blood-stained fabric from the ground. Others may not know the details, but the altar room's doorway had been sealed with a spell to keep intruders out. Only those with a direct bloodline of the Snow clan could open it, and he wasn't one of them. That's why he used the rose to get some from Lotus, and now he has it. Framed for. Compared to the tenseness of sneaking into the altar room half an hour ago, when he only had joy right now in his eyes as he held the divine god pill high above his head for gazing. It took longer than he expected earlier, But he's got it now after locating the item inside a small compartment hidden behind the altar. With this I will finally break into the high divine stage, and at that point no one can order me around anymore. Humph. I can also ditch that stupid woman and get a real one. Lotus can't even get a simple pill for me. What use is she in the future? Not long after the so-called gentleman's departure, Snow Lotus's figure also appeared at the altar room's entrance. Compared with the man's initial nervousness of being a thief, this oldest daughter of the Snow clan was much calmer in the face. Why the stark contrast? Well, she knows well enough that her father wouldn't do anything even if it's discovered she stole the pill. After all, if anything happens, then who would marry Bai Xiao? Using a dagger to cut open a small wound along the fingertip, she lets the blood drip onto the door lock and shoved it open. Subsequently, the lady did as the guy did and searched all around for the supposed secret compartment. But instead of being elated once she located the spot, she only got irate and red in the face like an erupted volcanoes. Where's the pill? Where's the divine god pill? Why is it gone? Did father transfer the item to another place? But that's not possible. Where else in the estate can father securely hide the pill? During her spiraling train of thoughts and possible ideas, Snow Lotus's eyes suddenly popped in wide astonishment like it sudden dawned on her. Bai Xiao and his friends just arrived. Then the divine god pill goes missing. It's too much of a coincidence. They must be the thief. They stole it. Someone come. Someone come right this instant. Snow Lotus cries out after standing up, and immediately drew the nearest guards to come running. Miss, is something wrong? One of the leading men asks with rigid attention, gritting her teeth. The divine god pill has been stolen. Boom. Her words struck the guards thunderously, sending them all staring blankly and unable to process the sentence in full. To begin with, their missions has been to prevent anyone from approaching the altar room, and the only reason they left was because of Snow Lotus dismissing them a few hours ago. Then all of a sudden the divine god pill has gone missing? Anyone with a brain could tell who would take the blame in this case, and it wasn't the young lady. It's all Moon's fault. If it wasn't that girl delaying me earlier, then I would've. Stopping there to stomp her feet in frustration, Lotus began to let her wild thoughts run wild. Framed 5. Those responsible for guarding the place immediately got all fearful in their faces. Miss, how are we going to report this to the chief? There's another thing he didn't say though. If it wasn't for the big lady temporarily removing them from here, then it wouldn't have been possible for the divine god pill to go missing in the first place. At least not without them noticing beforehand at someone sneaking into the altar room and leaving them blindsided. Lotus glared hard at the group in front of herself. Just shut up and follow me. We're going to retrieve the divine god pill right now. Originally the group that's full of panicking adults gradually calmed down after hearing her words. What? The big lady knows where the pill is? Ignoring the strange looks coming her way, Lotus went ahead to leave for the inner courtyard, where she assumed the thief resides. Guest room. Holding a bowl of soup in hand, Chui carefully spoon-fed the content to the young lad across from herself. My hands are not a problem. I can drink it by myself. This of course embarrassed Bai Xiao, who never had such great treatment from the opposite sex. No, that won't do at all. Bai Yin is not around right now, so I must take good care of you. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with gleeful light as they flickered shyly away from his gaze. You need to drink this up, okay? Likewise, Bai Xiao also flared up into a flushed red hue along his cheeks due to their close contact. He could tell how awkward and intimate their current pose appeared. Even so, he didn't reject the kindness. Bang! Just then, as the pair were going through their moment, the door to the room suddenly got slammed open by a pair of feministic hands. Startled in the fashion of a cat having its tail stepped upon, Chui swiftly dropped the content in her hand and stepped in between the unwelcome people and her crush. What are you doing here? Standing at the door was a lady wearing a peach-colored dress, and behind her was a line of guards that has surrounded the room in a circling formation. Go nab this thief for me. Cocking her chin high, Snow Lotus ignored that question and directly gave the order. Yes, milady. The leading guards rushed forward, giving no care for anything else. Pung! Bai Xiao always knew this moment would come, so he didn't get scared. Rather, he leaned down and grabbed the dropped bowl and threw it at the rude bitch. Get lost. He's got plenty of practice in the past in the Bai house, so this behavior wasn't anything new. He merely returned to his roots. When has Lotus ever been treated like so? Having a bowl that's been smothered with soup thrown in her face? Huh. The very fact that she was clueless enough to get hit showed how dense this lady was at heart. Shouting aloud in an irate manner. Bai Xiao, how dare you throw my family's own stuff at me? You are a thief. Now I got proof, so you can forget about escaping the blame. But as long as you return the divine god pill, then I will spare you a painful death. Chu Yi now understood why this lady would come barging in, raising a sneering smirk. Instead of going to look for the thief after losing something, you come and blame us? Do you take us for fools? You. Snow Lotus glared at the Holy Land princess. Nothing happened until you came into my home. Who else could have done the theft then, huh? I bet it's you who did the thieving. Puffing up her chest to taunt the other rude girl. Chu Yi never cowers before a challenge, especially when she's being called a thief when she never did it. I, Chu Yi, will never deny doing something if it's done by my own hands. Don't go accusing me of just anything. Although I don't know what that whatever divine god pill can do. But if it's an alchemic product, then I can get some at any time I want. Why should I go steal it from your household? Framed 6. Bai Yan's an alchemist, and with her ability and knowledge of ancient formulas, Chu Yi was certain she could get any Dan pill without problem. In that case, why would she need to steal some from another person? Don't assume that Bai Yan disliked the Holy Land princess by the way she speaks to her, or the way the mother lectures the steam bun to stay away from the troublesome lass. They're in fact very close, and would do anything for this temperamental follower. You really know how to lie. Who would dare say they can get a divine god pill with ease? Despite my family being the most powerful in this land, we too could only get one of those. And yet you dare say you can get a bunch? Show me proof then, Humph. Come on, bring out a bunch to show me. Chu Yi actually became stumped for a second. I don't have any on me right now, but Bai Yan is an alchemist, so she will know how to refine some. If I go and ask her, then she will give me plenty, so why would I need to take yours? Ha! Snow Lotus cracks a sneering laugh like she's exposed the other side. That proves my point. You know, an alchemist? Don't make me laugh. I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over the divine god pill that you stole, and I will spare you a painful death. That does it for Chu Yi. Squinting her eyes into a narrow slit, the princess forms a smirk and beckons the other girl to come forward with a finger. Come over. If you do, then I'll return the whatever pill to you. That's more like it. Snow Lotus snorted, her chin held high as she slowly marched over. Now where's the Dan pill? Since the place belonged to the Snow clan, none of the guards or the lady suspected trickery. But as she got closer, Chu Yi suddenly raised her leg and directly kicked into the lady's stomach and sent her flying backwards. To begin with, Snow Lotus's talent has never been high. Coupling in with the years of love talk and unwillingness to train, she naturally fell heads over heels due to the lack of defense. She could barely breathe due to the stanching pain in the abdomen. Then to make matters worse, Chu Yi took this opportunity, while everyone was still in a daze, to rush forward and stomp down at the gasping girl's back. You think your madam here will just put up with your nonsense and accusations, right? I've been putting up with your attitude long enough. When have I ever suffered such attitudes from anyone? Chu Yi has devolved back into her old violent self in this case. She's never been one to take anything, attitude or indignation. Now that she's been pushed over the edge, things won't end smoothly regardless of who comes. Bai Xiao watched on as her friend there delivered a good whop-ass kicking. He actually found this side of the Holy Land princess quite likable based upon the way he's smiling. However, being happy was one thing. The guy didn't get so lost in the moment that he would miss out on the guards, who were throwing themselves at Chu Yi by this point. Rushing over to his companion as well. Stop. Whoever comes closer, then I will destroy the Millennium Ice Lotus inside my body. Afterwards no one will get their hands on the flower. He warns with ice in his voice. Sure enough, the guards who came with Lotus halted in their steps. They know well enough the only reason Snowhawk, the current chief, wanted this young lad into their kin was because of the ice lotus and the promise it holds. If anything happens to that magical flower, then they would be severely punished, death even for themselves and their family. Framed 7. What are you all dazing around for? Snow Lotus became rightfully outraged at the guards who didn't run over immediately. Get over there and nab this woman. But, milady, the Millennium Ice Lotus. Are you stupid or all just brain dead? This bastard is bluffing you. We just have to kill him to retrieve the Millennium Ice Lotus. There's no reason to keep him alive. Big Cousin said it already. Retrieving the Ice Lotus is as easy as offing this asshole. Afterwards the flower will be ours to remove. Regarding Wen Yi's words, this eldest daughter of the Snow Clan would believe anything, even the stupidest lies that most would deny right away. However, these household guards weren't as confident and hesitated. They know what the consequences are if anything happens to that precious treasure. What's more, their status wasn't on the same level as the lady. They are expendable, and they know it. By this point Bai Xiao had taken the opportunity to get in front of his friend, showing force in his posture despite being sloppy and weak. No one can touch her as long as I'm here today. Unless you want me to destroy myself along with the Ice Lotus. The boy's threat once again pushed the guards back. Xiao Xiao. Chu Yi lets go of her target and swings around to be a shield again, her face tense and insecure. Actually, I'm usually not this brutish. I'm usually very gentle. She got careless and revealed that temperament born from the protection of the Holy Land. Oh, what do I do? Will Xiao Xiao think I'm too brutish and not give me a chance? Thinking of this, Chu Yi strongly adds another part. I am really, really gentle, you must believe me. Bai Xiao openly smiled at that. You are indeed really, really gentle, but for this type of woman you need not be gentle. In front of the enemy, you only need to beat them hard and fast until they can't stand up again. The princess just stared, her eyes showing incredulous disbelief. He means, I don't need to hold back my temper in front of those I find to be an eyesore? I won't have to hold back. Do you think I'm bad-tempered? No. She wronged you first, so you should do whatever you want. Bai Xiao has always been indifferent in his own personality, never showing pity to those who cross him. In this case, it's Snow Lotus who sought her own demise, so why should he do anything about it? But would you still be on my side if I hit someone for no reason? Chu Yi fixes her eyes on the young man in anticipation for the answer. Bai Xiao laughs aloud with a humor in his voice. I believe in you. I believe you won't harm others in a barbaric manner unless you deem it necessary. After all, if my sister trusts you, then I of course trust you as well. In the eye of this young lad, anyone his older sister believes in are worthy of his trust regardless of what they do. To be clear, it's not without reason. Just look at what they experienced in the Bai house. Despite being the children of that home, no one believed their suffering or difficulties, and even earned a bad reputation for asking for help. Who believed them then? As a result, he wants to trust in those whom they deem friends. That's their decision and conviction. Chu Yi smiled brilliantly at the pass. Should I thank Bai Yin later? I didn't even do anything, and already left such a good impression on Xiao Xiao. You too. Snow Lotus pulls herself up and glared her eyes out resentfully at the pair. You stole my family's treasure and still dare to hit me? I'm going to tell my father and hang both of you for me to hit. Framed 8. Chu Yi furrows up her brow. I told you I didn't steal it. What don't you understand? You really think your Snow Clan is all that? My own household may not be comparable to yours, but I have Bai Yin on my side, so screw off with your accusations. Within the human world, the Holy Land stands at the peak with unmatched fighting force. However, that doesn't mean anything when matched against the various clans in the Celestial Realm. I care not who you have backing you. No power is above the Snow Clan aside from the Celestial Palace. Now you dare insult my house? Snow Lotus angrily lashes out and points her fingers at the other girl. What are you all dazing around for still? Hurry and go tackle her, so I can get the Divine God pill back. The faces of the guards here had all turned green at that repeated order. Their faces showed how troubled they are, and the fear circulating within their veins. What's going on? It's then at this moment, in the height of the confrontation, a low and mature voice cuts in from the rear. Snow Lotus became shocked by the sound, but that surprise quickly turned to nervous tension once she met Snowhawk's iron-hard gaze. Timid and small in her voice. "Father, these people stole the Divine God pill. That's why I came to get it back. You don't know, but this asshole's friend here insulted me. You must punish them for me." Snowhawk's face got cold. The Divine God pill got stolen? That's right. It must have been stolen by these people. The pill was perfectly fine until this woman came into our home. If it's not her, then who else can it be? Big sister. Snow Moon, who had followed her father into the room, stomps her feet in frustration. You can't spout things like that. Sister E is not that kind of person. Oh. Sounding sarcastic in her mocking voice. Snow Lotus only found it amusing in her younger sibling's rebuttal. And you know that how? You and her only met today. Why are you so certain about their personality? Or did you steal it or had them do it? You. Snow Moon made an incredulous face at being accused by her own family member. How did you become like this? You weren't such an unreasonable person before. Big sister, did Cousin Winnie tell you stuff again? From the beginning, the young lass had never liked the guy, finding him too pretentious and fake on the surface. In fact, it's so bad that Moon would rather avoid the person even in her own home. That's how much of a negative view she had of this distant relative. You're trying to frame Big Cousin again. Snow Lotus's eyes saw red. Cousin Winnie is not what you all think of him. I know him better than anyone, so you can stop your persuasion now. Enough. Seeing how his two daughters are about to quarrel again, Snowhawk rubs his forehead in pain and cuts them off. Lotus, I want to first know how you learned of the pill's disappearance. Biting her lip at the question. Father, it's my own doing. You won't give the Divine God pill to Cousin Winnie. That's why I wanted to steal it and give it to him. Yet when I went to grab the pill, I discovered it's been stolen. Originally, Snowhawk thought it would be Winnie who had stolen the precious pill under their nose. But since his own daughter was going to do it anyways, then that suspicion became moot. Issue was, the chief here didn't consider his own daughter's idiotic nature. If he did, well, he would go investigate the guy anyways out of extra precaution. Miss, blinded now, Snowhawk turns to Chewy E with his frowning face. Is what my daughter said true? Chewy Phone 1. Bai Zhao's expression got very icy then. Raising a hand to pull his friend behind himself like a pair of love birds trying to protect each other, he confronts the Snow clan. If your home experienced a theft, then go look for the thief out there. Not here harassing an innocent woman. Also, we won't be staying any longer since it's clear we're not welcomed. Let's go, we're leaving. Okay. The princess stumbles to react, but reactively followed. It's just that. They had not taken step out yet before the guards surrounding their path and blocked the exit. Still having his back turned to the Snow Chief, Bai Zhao's temperament was also showing in a harsh manner. Chief Hawk, what is the meaning of this? Although I have not fully recovered from my injury yet, I can still walk on my own, so what reason do you have in stopping us? You misunderstood, Sir Xiao. I am not stopping you from leaving, but a theft has occurred within my home. Regardless of who they are, it's only proper that I investigate the matter and go over every individual that could be a suspect. Showing a light smile that neither roused hate nor kind feelings. Someone come. Send Miss Chu here to a guest room for rest. If we locate the thief, then we will naturally let her leave without issue. Although Snowhawk did not explicitly accuse Chu Yi of being a thief, it's nevertheless obvious to everyone he also suspected the Holy Land Princess to some degree. It couldn't be helped in this case. The coincidence of the item going missing the very first day she arrives was too perfect. Anyone with a sane mindset would also turn to this direction, no matter how good their logic was. Of course, that's only because of Lotus's explanation from earlier. Otherwise, the Snow Chief here would instantly turn to Winnie instead. Father! Snow Lotus stomps her feet in frustration. Bai Zhao is also with her. They're part of the same group. I believe we should tie them up and send them to the punishment hall for disposal instead. annoyed now after having his order questioned. You be quiet. Regardless of who stole the divine god pill, you will marry him, so stop trying to wiggle your way out. This foolish daughter of mine, what am I going to do with her? This Bai Xiao has our family's ice lotus. Even if he did steal the divine god pill, what of it? Does she expect me to really punish the boy when he's going to be your husband soon? Are you sure you want to touch her? Bai Xiao reaches over to grasp onto the Holy Land princess's hand, his face stern and unyielding. Before in the human world, whether it be strength or background, Chu Yi had always done the protecting, and now it's her turn to be protected by the man. One literally sees the sweet honey-dovey eyes in the girl right now as she stood behind him. So this is how it feels to be protected by the one they like. It's not bad at all, I like it. Someone come. Bring Miss Chu to her room. Snowhawk got louder since none of his people had moved yet. Father. Snow Moon, the younger daughter, immediately protests. She's getting extremely anxious and red in the eye. Sister Yi will never do something like stealing from us, father. You. Shut up for me. The chief swiftly stops her with that scold. Compared with Snow Lotus, his eldest, he much prefers this younger one since she's smart and hardworking. But love was love. He also must put into consideration of the entire clan as a whole. So he mustn't act solely on his own feelings in this incident. Chewy phone too. I won't be quiet. Snow Moon angrily shouts back. Father, Sister Yi is not that kind of person. You are wronging her. If you continue to do this, then you will regret it in the future. Snowhawk's frowning face only got worse due to the displeasure of having his decision repeatedly questioned. Guards, go bring my second daughter back to her room. She's not to leave the room unless I say so. This means that he's going to put Snow Moon under house arrest, which showed in the stream of tears flowing down the panicking girl's face as she was dragged away. I don't want this. I don't want to leave. Father, you can't do this. You can't do this to Sister Yi. She continues to sob and cry out. Chu Yi instinctively want to help in the way her hands were clenching up. However, this princess also knows what the consequences of her own rash actions would mean in this case. She's seen through this chief already. Family bonds? Sure, he might have some. But that bond pales in comparison to being the head of this household and all those who follow him. Heck, she's certain if the situation comes to shove, he would even sacrifice his own daughters if it meant the prosperity of the clan as a whole. Xiao Xiao, grasping onto the young lad's hand as she spoke. Bai Yin will come save us, so don't let this get to you. Huang Xiaoying and Lan Xiaoyan had already left to find the demon queen. Once she gets word of their predicament, that proud woman would surely come running. I know my sister will come, but I fear we won't have the time to wait for her. The lad forms a helpless smile. In another few days I will fully recover and could fight our way out. But it's unlikely they will give us the chance until then. Nor do I want you to endure this indignation for my own sake. Chu Yi was a person whom his older sister highly valued. How could he bear to make her suffer in his place? So, even if his strength hasn't been restored yet, he would still fight in order to not let them take her away. Chief Hawk, you are likely not aware of what I said to these guards to make them back off earlier, so I'll repeat myself for your sake. If you lay a hand on my friend, I will immediately destroy the Millennium Ice Lotus within my body. I will do what I say, don't doubt my words. There's no fear or indecision in the young man. Only strength and a drive to continue moving forward in life. Snowhawk's face got even uglier as he narrowed in on the lad. Are you threatening me? Take it however you like. Don't assume I don't know what you are thinking. Cocking a smirk in his face. Aren't you only pairing me up with your daughter because you want me to stay at the Snow Clan for the rest of my life? Don't try to say otherwise. I know as much as you do on what it means for the Ice Lotus to take root within my body. To think you would rather sacrifice your own daughter's happiness just to have her take half of the powers given to me by the Ice Lotus. You sure are a thoughtful father indeed. Snowhawk's facade of being stern and mighty finally crumbled at his plot being exposed. Yes, he wants Lotus to marry Bai Xiao because the Ice Lotus works exactly in that fashion. Once mated, the pair could never be separated since their powers are shared. By then there wouldn't be any cause for revenge, since the association has been made. Right now all that remains was the look of astonishment from the chief's eye. This. How did he know about this? Only the chief of each generation would know about this secret. Why does he know what the ice lotus entails for the female partner? Father, is what he said true? Snow Lotus swung around and locked onto her old man's stunned face. Is this the reason why you want me to marry him? You know I like Big Cousin the entire time. I never cared for talent or strength. Why must you force me when Moon is around too? She could have done so in my place. Sure, she's a bit young, but you could have waited a few years before making the marriage proposal. Chewy Feng 3. Shut up. Snowhawk snaps and yelled at his daughter. In a few years? A few years is all it needs for this young man to grow strong enough to overcome our control. And then what? What leverage do we have to make him marry Moon at that point? This dumb daughter of mine is so frustrating at times. If she wasn't so easy to control, then I wouldn't even consider her. Moon is smart, but she's also much more difficult to manipulate for the clan's sake. You're all shameless. Chu Yi jumps out from behind Bai Xiao and yelled out in exasperation. Xiao Xiao is a dragon that soars through the sky, not some fish in a small pond. He will never be used by the likes of you. Snowhawk simply sneered at the outcry. Sir Xiao, I know my eldest daughter's temperament isn't the greatest around, but the arrangement is also mutually beneficial. My Snow clan may not be the strongest in the celestial realm, but it's still a first-rate power. Aside from the celestial palace itself, there are no other forces out there that could make us fear them. As long as you become my son-in-law, power and wealth will easily be within your reach. Why go out on your own when you can easily obtain a lifetime's worth of wealth in mere moments? Bai Xiao chuckled at that temptation. And if I don't agree? No, I do not believe you will disagree. Snowhawk appeared so confident in the way he spoke that it's hard to disagree. I admit, I care a lot for the Ice Lotus, mainly because it's our clan's treasure for generations, and a vital part of our strength. If you must insist on leaving us and taking the Ice Lotus away, then I'm sorry, but I would rather it be destroyed than to fall into an outsider's hand. You cannot blame me for wanting to secure what's ours to begin with, can you? Unfazed by the open threat there. I cannot blame you for that, I agree. However, one point in your argument is incorrect. The Ice Lotus, it's mine to begin with. I'm the original owner. Please don't make me laugh with that joke, Sir Xiao. Everyone knows the Ice Lotus has been in my family for centuries already. How can it be yours? Honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard of such a shameless claim. Chuckling coldly now that things have come this far. Guards, secure both my daughter and him. Lotus must marry him tonight. As long as they finish doing their thing tonight in bed, then everything is sealed. Father, out of panic, Snow Lotus subconsciously took a few steps back, because she never expected the situation to turn out this way. She only wanted to get the Divine God pill back, not be forced to have sex tonight. Moreover, how can father believe this asshole is more talented than Big Cousin? If they swapped position, then Big Cousin's achievement would surely exceed this guy's. Bai Xiao lowers his gaze. I will stop them from touching you. Leave first while I keep them busy. Once you find my sister, then return. Don't worry, I will be all right. Shaking her head after hearing that. I don't know where Bai Yin is. Regardless, Xiaoyan have already left to find her. You still have injuries on you. I can't just leave you behind. If only Di Xiaoyan was here, then she could probably overcome everyone here with her strength. She will certainly have a way to deal with these bastards. Leave. Snowhawk huffs a grunt and stepped forward. Neither of you can leave. In this snow realm, my people are everywhere. Don't think about escaping. Swish. Drawing their swords, the guards quickly surrounded the pair at the center. Bai Xiao didn't hesitate in the slightest. He may be weaker right now, but he's not powerless. Drawing his own sword, the young man pounced at the men that's swinging their blades. If it was in the past, then he could easily pummel these people, including the chief here. But he's far too injured from the last battle. Exactly then. Chewy Feng 4. Grar. Suddenly, A massive roar of a tiger's howl blasts over from the back of the group, causing Snowhawk to hesitate for a brief moment, and allowing the three-striped tiger to pounce at him. Those claws extended and lethal as it cuts into the man's arm from that swipe. Chu-yi, are both of you alright? Huang Xiaoying jumps off the three-striped tiger's back, and hurried over to examine her companion. Oh, how come you are back? Where's Xiaoyan? Where's Bai Yin? The Holy Land princess urgently asks, after seeing it's only the tiger and girl who had come. I felt uneasy not long after we departed, so I came back with Tigerly. My instincts have always been good, so I didn't want to risk it. But I did tell Xiaoyan to continue on with the direction I've given her. I'm sure she will reach the queen real soon. Pursing her lip, the tigress sighed in relief knowing she's made it in time. It's clear that if she had come even a moment later in this case, Bai Xiao would have undoubtedly been seriously injured there with that hit. Damn beast, I'm your master. How dare you help these outsiders to hurt me? Snowhawk snaps, his anger ready to explode as the pain continued to sting from the arm. The big tiger didn't cower, and instead issued a ferocious low growl in retaliation of that remark. He's been in the Snow clan all his life. Never once has Snowhawk been kind to him. If not for Snow Moon taking care of him, the poor thing would have been living a life of hell. Hence his strong kinship to Huang Xiaoying, who had stopped him from going berserk on the young lass earlier today. How dare you growl at me? Ignoring the others in the room, the outraged chief attacks the tiger in full. He won't kill Bai Xiao or Chu-yi until he knows she's the thief. But a demonic beast was another deal. As the most powerful man in this snow realm, he won't be insulted by a mere animal who had swiped at him. Careful, Huang Xiaoying became shocked, throwing herself over to the tiger to help only to be a step too late. The wind blade from Snowhawk's sword lifted the three-striped tiger out, sending the poor animal flipping into the air and slamming heavily into the courtyard. There's now a scar running across its chest. Even so, the big cat doesn't yield despite the stream of blood coming out, and threw himself at the man once again. The mindset of demonic beasts has always been stubborn and simple. If he knows you're good to him, then he would protect you at all costs. And if you're bad to him, then he'd rather die than to be subjected to such humiliation. Tigerly, suddenly, an exclaiming cry came from the direction of where Snow Moon departed earlier, thus causing a pause in that hit. Nevertheless, the recoiling force alone was enough to send the tiger flying out again, and leaving him paralyzed on the floor in pain after smashing against a wall. Tigerly. Tears burst into the second daughter's eye as she rushed over to protect her faithful friend with outstretched arms. She had just snuck back out from her room when she saw this occur, so it struck the young girl heavily to see her own loved ones committing such cruel acts. You mustn't hurt him. Snowhawk's face sank into a dark plume. It's only an animal. You would raise your hands at your own father because of it? How dare you go against me after all I've done for this family? Chewy Feng 5. Tigerly is not an animal, he's my friend, and he's my partner. Trembling in her small figure, Snow Moon clearly became agitated by that remark. You never allowed me to make friends since I was little, always forcing me to train from dawn to dusk. I know you and the rest of the family doesn't like him, always picking on him and refusing to play with him. But he's my most important partner. I won't allow anyone to hurt him, I will not. Shut up. Snowhawk's fist started to make a crackling sound due to the pressure he made as he swept his gaze over to the guards. Did I not say she's not allowed to come out? Who let her come out? Hanging their head in guilt. Chief, the second miss threatened to commit suicide if we don't let her out. Get out of my sight. The man became outraged as he locked onto his second daughter. I won't allow my daughter to be held hostage by a demonic beast. Before I didn't know you cared so much for that animal. But now I do, so it's time I handled the matter. Either you drive it away and he lives, or he stays and I kill him today, choose now. I don't want this. Snow Moon turned and grasped onto her three-striped tiger's collar. I don't want to leave Tigerly. If he goes, I'm leaving too. It seems that I have been too tolerant of you as of late, letting you grow such unruly behavior. Also, stop thinking about whimsical thoughts. You are my daughter. You must stay here to protect the Snow Clan for life. And this demonic beast, I am not going to let it stay. That said, Snowhawk's murderous gaze fell upon the tiger, who had no means to retaliate. Tigerly could tell his fate was likely be sealed today. Turning to face the young lass, he licks the palm of her hand in unbearable sadness of their impending separation. Enough! Shui finally couldn't take this sad picture and spoke up. Are you even a father? What father wouldn't love their daughter? Do you have even the slightest consideration for her own feelings? The princess grew up under her father's favor, so this sort of family structure astonished and baffled the lady to no ends. In her view, family should be kind and loving to one another, not this sort of tyrannical structuring where one must obey the will of the older. It's none of your business on how I lecture my daughter. Snowhawk just brushed it off with a huff, and turned to the side where the guards stood. What are you all waiting around for? I don't care what sort of fuss she makes. Do not let my second daughter leave her room again. Meanwhile, at the same time atop of a snowy mountain peak, Lan Xiaoyan had just tripped over a branch and nearly fell off a cliff. She's cold, extremely tired, and most importantly, lost and clueless as to where she was exactly. After the tigress left after saying she got a bad premonition, this poor human girl had been walking in a single direction. If the terrain was flat, then this wouldn't be a problem, but there are mountains here. Before she knew it, the poor lady had climbed a peak and gotten herself cluelessly lost aside from following the sun to make her way through. Yin Yan's younger cousin? This voice didn't sound unfamiliar to her ear, but it didn't ring any bells either. However, that picturesque face once she turned upwards to the sky left her tearing up with great fortune. Why are you crying? The man floating in the clouds frowned, his voice indifferent yet surreal. Suri Feng, excited in her voice due to the flaring hope that fell into her lap. You need to hurry and save Yi. She's in trouble. Right now she's inside the Snow Clan's estate. And cousin Bai Xiao is also there. Chu Yifeng's expression sank into a stern look that he almost never showed. This only occurs when it involves people he's close to, and even then it's a rare thing. Disappearing like the wind. He's true to his name that comes like the wind and disappears like the wind. Not long after the guy had left, another familiar voice reached out again and causes the human girl to become ecstatic. Xiaoran, how come you are here in this icy mountain? Chu Yifeng and Bai Yan's arrival 1. Cousin Bai Yan. She couldn't control the tears that swelling outward of those eyes after seeing who had come. Taking a few steps forward, Lan Xiaoyan didn't hesitate in throwing herself into the Demon Queen's arm, after all the trouble she's been through. Cousin, I miss you so much. You have to go save Bai Xiao. He is being held against his will. Instantly, from that perplexed face of finding her relative in this frostbitten land, Bai Yan's expression had turned grimly dark. What happened? Tell me right away. Wiping the corner of her eye to remove the fluid, she quickly went over the encounter at the Snow Clan, and how things aren't looking good. Yen Yen. Deedsong sweeps his wife into his arms then, and made his iconic smile before a bloodbath occurs. Lead the way. I want to see the sort of people who would dare touch my brother-in-law. Compared with the calm of the snowy mountains, the Snow Clan was experiencing a crisis of its own from within the ranks. By this point Snow Moon had been roped up and being dragged away for the second time. She struggled and struggled, of course, but her strength paled in comparison to all these good fighters of the family. As for Tigerly the three-striped tiger, he's too injured to even get up, only able to make several whimpering cries from the throat as he watched on from the ground. What a foolish animal! Snowhawk snorted at the fruitless struggle before shifting his attention back to the reason he's here. Bai Xiao acted in accordance with this by pulling Huang Xiaoying and Chui Yi behind himself. He's ready to fight despite his weakened state. Chief Hawk, you are certain about not letting us go today? Know that I will never marry your daughter even if I stay. The young man's cold, heartless words were like swords stabbing into Snow Lotus's heart. If at first the eldest daughter only believed Bai Xiao was trying to win her over by playing hard to get, then now she's certain he truly despises herself. She's dumb, not stupid. She could at least read the situation when things have evolved to this point. Father, just let him go if he doesn't want to marry me. I already have someone I like, a far better one. It's simply baffling to me how he can be so high and mighty despite being so powerless. Guards, take my eldest away as well and summon the matchmaker. I want Lotus changed into her wedding gown for tonight. Snowhawk doesn't even bother responding to her oldest daughter, and instead began ordering the rest of the guards to move. As for Sir Xiao here, get him the wedding garb from the storage. If he resists, lock his 2 female friends away. I like to see him resist then. Lotus's complexion got dreadfully white then, but as she gnawed on her own tongue in frustration, the girl suddenly got another idea in mind. I need to find a way to escape tonight. I will never have sex with that asshole. Even if I marry, I will only marry Big Cousin. The 2 of you leave now. Bai Zhao's eyes grew grim as he lashed at the nearest guard with a punch. Grabbing both girls by the waist, he forcefully tossed them into the sky. This was the only opening he could see with the divided attention from the Snow Chief, so he took it. Chu Yifeng and Bai Yan's arrival too. Forget about the Snow Clan members here. Not even Chu Yi or Huang Xiaoing expected the young man to pull this trick. Staring at him, the Holy Land princess reactively wanted to reach out and grab his arms, to only slip those dainty fingers across that shoulder sleeve in the last moment. Catch them! Snowhawk glowered as he ordered the men to move it. Ignoring the fact that Chu Yi might be the thief here, the mere fact that the only weakness of the young lad was these 2 ladies was enough to make Chief Hawk capture them. By using the 2 as hostage, he could easily manipulate the guy into sleeping with his daughter afterwards. If you want to catch them, then you better step over my dead body. Bai Xiao blocked the pursuers with his figure, that sword in his hand pointing at whoever attempted to draw closer. Unfortunately, the young guy never did fully heal from his injuries. When he moved, so did Snowhawk, who locked onto him. Following a palm strike to his chest, the guy stumbles backwards and spewed blood from the mouth. Bai Xiao, is she your lover in the way you protect her? Snowhawk casually comments. Her strength is so mediocre, likely not from any noble house or clan. Why are you so insistent on being with such a mundane female, when my Snow Clan far exceeds her worth? A frown naturally formed on the young man's face at the misunderstanding, but he's not going to correct the chief either. Huffing a grunt, he continues to keep a wary pose. And my relationship is none of your business. Also, I will never be forced into any form of marriage. No one can dictate my future. Bang! Striking out once again with his palm after that retort, Snowhawk knew his words wouldn't do anything, so he intends to use force to do the talking. Yet despite increasing his power in that hit, the recoiling force only made the young man take 2 steps back before stopping. Naturally, blood leaked from the corner of Bai Zhao's mouth at his injury becoming more severe. But the stubborn pride in his eyes and face never relented. Don't look down on me. I may not be able to defeat you lot today, but don't think I will submit to your whims just because I'm losing. If you want to kill me, then go ahead. I will never sleep with your daughter. Snow Lotus was being dragged away when she overheard that shout. Like any young maiden, being disregarded to such a degree would undoubtedly make them flush with embarrassment. In the heat of the moment, this foolish girl actually broke free from the constraints of her 2 restrainers and ran up to the guy and slapped him across that handsome face. If it were in the past, then Lotus wouldn't even be able to get close to the boy, let alone slap him. But now, Bai Zhao's exhausted and suffering from a double injury, just about anyone could come hit him as they please because merely standing there required most of his energy to support the feat. Get this, you asshole. It's me who don't want to marry you, not you not wanting to marry me. Who do you think you are? I am the eldest daughter of the Snow Clan, a woman beloved by hundreds in this land. You are nothing but an orphan without family or background. Don't go running your mouth like you're all that when you're not. In the eye of this pompous lady, only she's allowed to refuse the marriage of others, and not the other way around. Imagine this news being spread across the city. It would cause irreparable damage to her reputation, you know. Not the least bit annoyed by that outburst, the teen here only licked the corner of his lip to remove some of the blood. Then turning to Lotus, his eyes radiated a cold, bristling ice storm that shocked the blasphemous girl back, like she's actually there in person. Before your family saved me when I fell unconscious, I wanted to repay that debt using my own means, but now, I owe you all nothing. The way Bai Xiao carried a heavy note, showing how repugnant he was starting to feel about this place. Chu Yifeng and Bai Yan's arrival 3. He's no longer able to resist Go. Frowning in his face, Snow Hawk gives the command and slowly turns around to have his back facing the young man. He doesn't want to continue watching this sad sight despite being one of the reasons causing it. It's just that his words did not get to finish when a fierce piercing wind emerged from another side. Before he could react, a long sword had already gone into Bai Xiao's chest and out through his back. Blood oozed out as a result of this lethal wound, dyeing the white robe of the young man red. Wenyi. After the initial pause, due to how sudden this occurred, an unbridled level of rage gushed forward from the chief's heart. With cracking fists and popping veins, he yelled, "What are you doing? Uncle, I heard this boy stole a Dan pill from the estate and dared to resist. Such a person will never be trustworthy. It's best we kill him now before he destroys us all when he's strong enough." That said, Wenyi the scum who was in fact the real thief here draws his sword out, leaving the wounded Bai Zhao to suffer a second injury, as the blood rained out like a fountain. There's nothing but blur left in Bai Zhao's vision as he tumbled forward. Then as his consciousness slowly faded away, a light blue figure quickly dashed over and caught him mid-fall before he hits the ground. Didn't I tell you to go?" He weakly mutters upon recognizing that familiar face upon close contact. "I said I won't go. I won't ever leave you. I would rather die with you before then. Even if I die, I'm going to die with you." Bai Xiao had trouble getting a full look at the Holy Land princess, but he could sense the intense emotion in that voice. "You. When exactly did that happen? Why do I sense such strong love from her voice? Did she always feel that way towards me?" "Father, this is not cousin Wenyi's fault. He's only looking out for the Snow clan." Snow Lotus didn't care for the dying boy, and instead ran up to Wenyi to act as his shield using her own body. She's afraid this momentary pause would bring the attention back to her lover. I'll dispose of you later. Bai Xiao won't last much longer. You and him must do the deed now." Snow Hawk has seen many things in life, so he knew this was the time to act lest he missed the opportunity. As for the one responsible for this tragedy, he has every intention to kill Wenyi afterwards for this mess. "Yes, Chief." 2 of the estate guards got the hint and began to move over to pull the Holy Land princess away. Chu Yi ignored them, of course. She could care less for what others want, and started to bring out the Dan pills from her storage bag and stuffed it into Bai Zhao's mouth. Unfortunately, these restorative pills were all made by Bai Yan during her time in the human world. It's not effective for someone that's at this level. "I'm not leaving him. You better kill me first before I let go." Finding her efforts futile, she directly wound her arms around the guy's shoulder to keep contact, those eyes blazing with hatred for the men around. Snow Hawk remains indifferent to the tearful outcry, of course. If she won't let go, then beat her until she does. That's all these bastards needed. Finding a stick nearby, they began to hit the princess from all angles. Bruises quickly developed across the girl's body as the hits continued to rain down. It hurts, but when her eyes met with the fading light in Bai Zhao's, the material pain paled in comparison to the stinging helplessness in the heart. "I won't leave him, even if I die today." "Stop, all of you stop now." Huang Xiaoing the tigress had been standing at the entrance the entire time. "The queen's brother got stabbed? How did this happen? These people dare to hurt her highness's brother?" With that thought in mind, this lady roars out and transforms into her beastral form, pouncing at the guards with her claws leveled at their necks to stop them from beating her friends. Chu Yifeng and Bai Yan's arrival 4. Snow Hawk didn't expect the second girl to be a demon, so he became quite taken aback there by her transformation. However, his initial shock quickly subsided after seeing the trouble this tigress was causing by stopping his men from beating Chu Yi. Getting dark in the face, this chief raises a hand and attacks the tigress from the rear. Huang Xiaoing hit the ground hard from that sneak attack. Even so, She immediately pounced back up due to the heat in her eye, and rushed the group attacking Bai Xiao and Cui Yi a second time. Meanwhile, outside the snowy city's gate, Bai Yin and the others were rushing over at their fastest speed towards the estate when they overheard the tigress's sorrowful roar. Yi and Xiao, something must have happened. Pfff. Cui Yi again spewed a mouthful of blood from the mouth, due to the last hit from the rod. But no matter how hard these people tried to pry her away, she refuses and clung even harder to the young man's body. You go, let go of me and leave on your own. Bai Xiao didn't fare any better as the blood continued to drain from his veins. He wanted so direly to do something, but he couldn't even lift a finger anymore. That's how powerless he was at the moment. This truly turned out into a mess. Damn it. If Bai Xiao doesn't sleep with Lotus soon, then all this trouble will all be for naught. Snowhawk never intended to kill anyone in this matter. But as the situation spiraled out of his control, it simply wound up like this. It didn't help either that Snow Lotus and Winnie was pushing the problem from the rear in their own way. Miss, I advise you to let go. Otherwise I'll have to use a tougher approach. The chief attempts to salvage the last bit sanity from all this with that persuasion. Cui didn't care, only weakly muttering to the air. I'm not going to leave him. If he goes I go, if he dies I die. Xiaoing, I'm afraid I can't hold on anymore. If Bai Yin comes, help me tell her. Help me tell her to bury me together with Xiao Xiao. That's my only request. I'm sorry, father. I'm sorry, brother. I can't be with you anymore. Gradually closing her eyes in acceptance, the past images of her friends and family flashes before the mind, and brought a sad, pitiful smile along those lips. It's just a pity. I will never see them again. Suddenly, a familiar and gentle voice cuts through the noise in this courtyard, sending the Holy Land princess into a momentary trance like she's hearing illusions. But it quickly dawned on her, this was no dream. Shooting open her eyes, the girl looks up toward the source in where voice originated. White robe, raven black hair, a picturesque handsome face that she would recognize anywhere and anytime. Cui knew she was saved. Throwing herself into those arms after the man landed. Big brother, it hurts. She's the little witch of the Holy Land. When has she ever been beaten? Snowhawk had long noticed this new arrival before everyone else. But his body wouldn't allow him to move like he's been petrified. In fact, the aura coming off of Cui Feng was so strong that his heart started to panic and made him want to back off. Make no mistake, Chief Hawk was by no means a weak individual. He's long become demi-divine lord and could be comparable to a keeper in terms of strength. Despite this fact, he felt minuscule before the handsome man that just landed on the ground. How strong is this person exactly? Cui Feng and Bai Yan's arrival 5. But then his attention quickly shifted to the way Cui addressed the guy. She called him, Big brother? How can it be? How can this woman have a brother who is more powerful than me when she's so weak? Big brother, help Zhao Xiao. I can't do it, please save him. I don't want him to die. Cui did not wait for Cui Feng to speak and tugged at his sleeve for help, her eyes tearfully crying. Take him to Bai Yan, I know she can save him. As long as there's a breath in him, Bai Yan will be able to bring him back. I'm sure of it. Shower. The abrupt voice sounded urgent and filled with panicking fear when it reached the princess's ear. Recognizing it but still having trouble believing it's true, Cui rigidly looks up to find a woman rapidly flying over to their spot in the courtyard. Bai Yan is here. Xiao Xiao is saved. After landing on the ground, Bai Yan wasted no time to assess the situation by glancing over to Snowhawk and his men. But her sharp glaring gaze soon fell upon the pool of blood around the young man on the floor, and that made her heart tense up like a hand just ripped it apart. The demon queen could literally faint, if not for the urgent desire to help. Shower. Leaping over to the spot, the demon queen smoothly pulls the young man into her arms to feed a pill she readily summoned from the storage ring on the finger. The effects were near instantaneous, stopping the flowing blood from that wound. Sadly, it's not anywhere close to being enough to save the young man. He's still deathly pale and grim to the eye like he's about to lose his breath at any minute. This isn't enough. Shower's injury is too severe. If I want to fully heal him, then I will need to refine a Botitan Dan pill. I don't have the key ingredient Snow Blossom on hand. There are some on the Sky Mountain though, but… Deetsong, go summon all the demons nearby to look for the herb. Bai Yin wanted to commit murder, due to the anger swelling from within. So her words there were a bit erratic. It's normal to lose her cool. Anyone would. Especially when her brother's life was something she vowed to protect. And now she's failing it at the highest level. Yifeng. Bai Yin may have lost her cool but the sane part of her head remains. Realizing she's too heated and needs to calm down to approach this with a level-headed mindset, the Demon Queen throws another pill over to Chu Yifeng. Give that to Yi. It will heal her bruises and internal injury. I like to see who would have the nerve to hurt my people. Boom. Snowhawk's brain became rocked by an explosive flash to the past. The reasoning? It's because on the moment Bai Yin and Deetsong appeared from the sky, he already started to remember why he felt the name to be so familiar. Not long ago when the Celestial Palace summoned all the demi-divine lords to attack the demon city, he too was part of that assaulting force. It's there on that day that he met this woman in red. Exposed one. Who are you? Snow Lotus did not notice the nervous behavior of her own father, so she was very eager to get in their faces. Oh, what the heck? Just take him away so we can be done with this. I will never marry this fatherless orphan, do you hear me? Bai Yan's expression got exceptionally frosty at the last tidbit about her brother being called an orphan. Turning to confront the wretched girl, her eyes nailed the other person firmly at the spot. She's Bai Zhao's older sister Bai Yin. Chu Yi, the Holy Land princess, had recovered by now, so she also became eager to get back at the other person. And why wouldn't she? The little witch of the Holy Land doesn't take insults lying down. Not before and not now. Didn't I say so earlier? Your entire Snow clan is finished once Bai Yin is here, haha. Wah. Blood literally drained from Snowhawk's face in real time, causing his fist to tremble violently due to the horror. Demon Queen Bai Yin. She's Demon Queen Bai Yin. What have we done? Why does that Bai Xiao have such a dangerous sister? This is over, the Snow clan is doomed. I don't care who you are. You better take your brother and get lost. Even if my father wants me to sleep with him, I will refuse. Snow Lotus does understand Bai Xiao doesn't want to marry herself, but she's too proud, too egotistic to accept that reality. Hence the reason on why she kept insisting about that detail to make herself feel better. Shut up. Snowhawk snaps, slapping his eldest daughter across the face using a sizable amount of his strength. Getting all bruised up in the cheek, the crying girl didn't understand why her old man would hit her, so she's extremely aggrieved in the face. Father, still shaking all over. The chief wanted to smack her a second time there, but was swiftly stopped by Winnie the thief from the side. Uncle, you are too cruel to Lotus. Despite knowing these people are the one who stole the Divine God pill, you still want to marry her to that guy? Do you not have any love for your own daughter? All she wants is a man who is willing to stand on their own 2 feet. Why must you force her into something she doesn't want? Much less someone that only knows how to rely on the Snow clan's influence to reach a higher height. If it hadn't been for Snowhawk already reaching his limit in the amount of outrage he could release, the middle-aged man would never allow an E to spout such crap before Bai Yin. Sadly, it's already too late by the time he attempted to stop this. Growing increasingly more fearful and urgent, the chief turns to find Bai Yin slowly coming over to his location, like a menacing demonic, being ready to slash down with a scythe. Deetsong, can you take care of my brother for me? I want to personally handle the matter here today. Back when they were powerless and weak, it was always Bai Xiao who protected her. Now, it's time she did something for the younger brother. Exposed too. Deetsong readily picked up this brother-in-law from his wife's arm after that request. He has no issue with caring for this relative, and happily nodded before giving all of these walking corpses a meaningful smirk. He knows, whatever's going to happen would be far worse than what he had intended for them. Eradication would be the least of their worry. After all, there are fates worse than death, and in this case with his wife, that's only the bare minimum of what she could dish out. Who did you say stole a Dan pill? Bai Yin asked with the most hair-raising smile one could make. Miss Bai. Snowhawk knew where this conversation was headed and wanted to explain themselves. Unfortunately, the guy's sentence didn't even get to finish when it suddenly got cut off by that cold, hard glare from the Demon Queen. It's as if someone gripped him by the throat and sucked the air out of that lung, which elevated the initial fear and shock to utter despair. Speak, who stole a Dan pill? Bai Yin continued to ask with a higher level of intensity as she threatened those around. When he also felt the momentum and fell backwards a few steps. But then this thief quickly recalled the fact that they are in the Snow Clan's estate and regained some of his composure, answering bravely, "It is that young lass over there who stole the Divine God pill. She and your brother are a group together. That makes him her accomplice." Bai Yin sneered. "They are my family. Why would they need to steal someone else's Dan pill, let alone some measly Divine God pill?" After saying that, the Demon Queen roughly pulled out a bottle and uncapped it by popping the cork. Pouring the content out onto her palm, she readily tossed the bunch out towards the tigress to one side. Divine God pill? Those are all Divine God pills. Snowhawk may not be an alchemist, but he's been holding on to that one pill for a while already, so he could recognize the shape and color at first glance. Despite the high value the pills had, Huang Xiaoying could care less and leaped into the air to gulp down those sweet candies. She's a demon, so these precious alchemic products are food for her. In my case, Divine God pills are no more than snacks to feed a pet, yet you claim my brother and sister stole it off your hands? Bai Yan's derisive smirk was daggering, stinging these people like their pride just got trampled upon. Taken aback for a split second, when he wasn't going to be beaten so easily considering his own fraudulent nature. And you expect us to believe those are Divine God pills just because you say so? If it wasn't them, then who else could have done the theft? He intended to have Chu Yi bear the blame, so he's not going to back down no matter what. Someone merely has to be the scapegoat, that's all he needs. Bai Yin. Chu Yi tightly grasped onto her sleeve, then by running over. It's this guy who stabbed Xiao Xiao earlier. Exploding with an air that sent her hair flying out into an almost ghostly fashion, this Demon Queen didn't think twice and rushed at the thief, smashing her fist into Wen Yi's chest and making an audible bone-cracking sound. She sends him flying out like a rocket in the next. But there's no way that would be enough. With a single step, Bai Yin disappears in a flash and reappears before the guy to pick up his arm. Crunch! With that sound, she snaps the guy's elbow backwards into a 180 degree in the wrong way. All these people could hear in the air now were the heart-wrenching scream of agony and pain that echoed across this courtyard, due to the howling cry from Wen Yi's throat. Cousin Wen Yi. Snow Lotus got deathly white at this cruel display of ruthlessness. She wanted to run over and help, but the Demon Queen's following glance sent her shivering like a predator just locked onto her soul. Not wanting to waste time on the ignorant, Bai Yin turns back down to her screaming patient of pain. So you are the one who hurt my brother? Ha 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 ha. I will make sure you experience a fate worse than anything I've ever committed in this life. Don't you worry. That said, this flaming fiery scanned the crowd to make sure their faces are forever ingrained in her mind. After I'm done with him, it will be your turn. None of you shall escape me. Exposed 3. Miss Bai Yin. Snowhawk pulls a forced smile to look easier to the eye despite the thick layer of sweat on the forehead. This is all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? Chu Yi growled at the man. You won't let me and Xiao Xiao leave when we tried. Then your daughter came out of the blue and accused us of stealing a Dan pill. Oh right. You are also responsible for injuring Xiao Xiao a second time, after he refused to sleep with your daughter. The more she recounted all those egregious things, the more dangerous Bai Yan's expression became. What else happened while I wasn't around? Tell me each event slowly. Those demons under Deetsong will take some time to gather the ingredients, so you don't need to rush. Clenching her small hands into a ball. Xiao Xiao don't want to marry the Snow Clan's first daughter, but they kept insisting on it against his will. Then that Snow Lotus over there kept humiliating him, calling him a parentless orphan with an unknown background. She also called him weak and powerless, a worthless outsider not worthy of her status as the first daughter of this place. Bai Yan's chest would heave up and down at every point being called out by her close friend. She's never heard such insults about her dear brother in all the time she's lived in this life. Imagine it having all shoved into her ear at once. There's no way she wouldn't be affected. In her fit of rage, the demon queen stomps down even harder against Wen Yi's chest with her foot, causing the guy to suddenly spray out blood, but also a round green bead from the stomach. This would bet he divine god pill stolen from the altar room. Unlike alchemic products, this specific pill doesn't dissolve the second it touches the tongue. Rather, it takes a while before it's fully digested. When he knew this detail, of course. Therefore, he intended to make an excuse later, claiming he's going out to train in order to seek a way to make a breakthrough. And when he returns in the future, no one could say otherwise. Snow Lotus's weeping froze there in that second. She too had noticed the partially digested pill dropping down from the air and onto the ground, which left her utterly speechless and popping those eyes. As for Snowhawk the chief, well, what other emotion could this middle-aged man have? He came over to catch a thief, yet it's this very thief who thrust his entire clan into the fire pit by nearly murdering the demon queen's younger brother. Wen Yi, it's you who stole the divine god pill. The chief reactive roar causes a huge uproar from the men of the Snow clan. Unlike the shocked faces of most standing here, Chui Yi was actually laughing and eventually crying as well. Do you all see? I never lied. I told you all I didn't steal it. Turns out it's your own people who stole it. She could be the bad person in a story, but she would never be wronged and framed for something she's never done. Even if the Snow clan would be doomed today for what they've done, it doesn't change anything. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.